That's it. I'm muting.
That's it.
Right. Can we all load in, please? Why is this taking the world? Oh my god, don't fuck up for me now, please.
Please don't. Twitch, just don't.
It's taking its time. Making its way downtown.
Walking not very fast.
Oh. She does, doesn't she?
The little legs.
I know, that's why I wanted them in. I thought they were cute. And Mr. P's who?
I love that Jess is just bursting out of the little recliner mic.
I know, right? Like, she's just there.
Oh, we all work. Okay, sick.
Praise the Lord.
I don't know if I should keep my grumpy expression. Because, you know.
I don't know.
Serious themes and that.
I mean, I can't change the face I have, and I look pretty happy.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tiny's just hanging out.
Oh, look at that.
Hanging from the rafters.
Oh, that's what I was going to do. Play chill music in the background.
Look at that thing next to me right now.
Nurse Pointy.
Isn't it taste?
Oh! I need to draw Jess bursting out of the chair.
Hang on, I need to know, like... I just want to do something funny really quick.
What? Oh god.
Wait, no, I don't think it'll work. I don't think it'll work, never mind. I was gonna, like, see if I can walk over and, like, point at Jess.
You were on the move.
Do it!
Try it, please.
Oh my god.
Hi, nurse.
Give smooch. Give smooch.
What?
Quality content.
And we're out here supposed to be like talking about the dead.
Alright, I'm gonna return to my assigned seat.
We have assigned seats? Are we in class?
Yeah.
Right, I hope the music's okay.
Right.
I've put a lo-fi playlist on in the background. Just real quiet and shit.
Alright. Anyway, hello everybody.
Yeah, hello, welcome to the stream.
Hello everyone, welcome. I'm NurseGloom. You probably know who I am.
Oh, the little wave.
So cute.
This is Fuse. So fun.
Yeah, I'm bursting out like a fucking alien.
Who's the rabbit girl? Man, I don't know. Beats me.
Stranger danger.
But how's it going, folks? Hope we're all doing well.
Oh.
Why are you slurping your microphone?
It's like, you know, get that out of the mouth. Get that out of your mouth right now.
Stop, young lady.
There's a fucking cat on the roof.
How I'm doing?
Shall I?
Ma!
I'll do happy.
There's
Bursting
a weird
it.
fucking cat out here.
That's the funny thing.
There we go. Properly bursting out the chair. I am the seat cushion. Right.
Alright. So how do we want to kick this off?
I was gonna say,
Ooh, the floor is open.
who would like to go first for a case that they want to talk about?
Should we go in order? I mean, Jess, you are the host.
You are the host. You should go first.
Yee.
All right. Well, the first
Sorry, I got a
case
thing in my throat.
that I want to talk about, which one is the cantaloupe on the couch? I feel like that's a video that we should not watch. But yeah, the first case I want to talk about is dubbed The Boy in the Chimney. Now, I don't know if any of you have heard about this.
Yes! Taking my case!
See, we were bound to overlap.
We really should have communicated.
We We should have exchanged notes for our test.
But you could have some
Anyway.
facts I don't know about. You know?
All right, I have my notes open, so you tell me.
Well, I got an article. I'm just read from this article from strangeoutdoors.com. But the strange death of Josh Maddox, the boy in the chimney. So Josh Maddox disappeared May 8th, 2008 from Woodland Park, Colorado. And his body was found August 7th, 2015. So that's a whole 7 years later. Which is a bit wild.
I just want to say, why is it always Colorado?
Curse state.
It's always Colorado or Milwaukee.
Yeah.
But so he was 18 at the time of his disappearance, and he left his house to take a walk as a nature lover. Nothing seemed out of the blue, out of the ordinary, and then he was never seen alive again, which is really upsetting. I feel like I should stay grumpy for this. But then 7 years later, in August 2015, less than a mile away from his home, a property developer, Chuck Murphy, was demolishing an old wood cabin to make way for 32 new family homes. The cabin hadn't been used in years, and inside was damp. It was damp and rotten. So as they were starting to demolish this cabin, they found his mummified body in the chimney.
Oh, he was mummified?
His mummified
Wow.
body, which was later confirmed to be him. His body was naked apart from a thin shirt, and his clothes were neatly stacked inside the cabin. That's
Ew.
creepy.
That's okay. Ooh.
Yeah. So, to paint a picture of how this guy looked, he had long hair, he was 6 foot tall, he was a mouthy brown, skinny lad, apparently had a carefree attitude to life, loved music, he seemed like an all-around nice person. 2 years prior to his disappearance, his older brother, unfortunately killed himself. So when the dad said, I buried his older brother 2 years before, and it was so difficult on Josh. When his brother died, it pushed him over the edge. It was a big shock for the family and a big shock for Josh. He thought highly of his older brother. And then 2 years later, he seemed to be doing well and doing fine, but then he, disappeared, which is sad, obviously.
Oh my god. I did not know that much about this case. I'm gonna be honest with you. So, did they find who did it or no?
No, it's still an open case.
Oh, wow.
They had a suspect,
Yeah.
but it was ended up being cold again.
Okay. So, that stinks.
Yeah, as he was dismantling the chimney in one of the 2 cabins that this Chuck guy bought, he made a horrific discovery of the body of a young man cramped into a fetal position with his legs above his head. That's how his body was found in this chimney.
Oh my god.
So no one knows how he died. No one knows how he got in there. How the fuck his clothes were neatly folded on the outside.
He was mummified too. This
Yeah.
had to be intentional.
It was.
I don't know. Is there any other suspects, or is it just the one suspect?
There was one, and there was a suspicious call that was made. Several, actually, calls that were made to the police and the coroner. One call claimed to have said they put a victim in a hole, and the call said, I put Josh in a hole, but the source was ignored.
Oh, do you think maybe that guy did it?
I mean, it's possible, but it's all mostly speculation. The thing is, the coroner believed he passed due to compression asphyxiation. But the thing is, the contractor who made the building, he said that it wouldn't be possible for him to be in there because they had placed rebarb in the fireplace to
Oh.
block raccoons from getting, or just any other animals from getting inside the chimney.
Right. Those things that like, it's like the things that like keep pigeons from nesting and stuff like that.
Yeah, so they placed that in the chimney, so they thought it was very strange that they found him in there to begin with, the rebarb inside.
Yeah, Murphy said, there's a quote from him here. Murphy said, the guy who owned the cabin, there's no way that guy crawled inside that chimney with that steel weapon. He didn't come down the chimney, and he remained convinced that Josh's death had been no accident, adding that he was only wearing his thermal shirt, no pants, no shoes or socks. Murphy said it was ridiculous to think that a teen stripped down to just his shirt, climbed onto the roof, and then climbed in the chimney and slid down, knowing he'd be trapped.
Yeah, like he had to have like gone in by himself, or someone shoved him in there. Like, it's no accident for sure. Because no sane teenager goes, "Ooh, look, let me go climb in the chimney." Like, that's like, teenagers are stupid, but like nobody would do that.
Yes, I don't know if you had it in your notes, but the owner also noted that the breakfast bar had been ripped out and placed alongside the fireplace as to potentially hide Joshua or prevent him from getting out.
That's interesting.
Okay, that like further proves it. It's no accident.
Yeah, the coroner said that his body had been there for about 7 years. So the time he went missing to the time he was found, he was already deceased.
Was his body like found in perfect condition, or like, because you mentioned he was mummified, and usually with mummification, it's like almost imperfect and completely intact.
I mean, from the notes I had, it said the body was disjointed, so that just shows that the body was there for a long time.
Yeah, he was in the fetal position, like mentioned earlier, so.
I gotcha.
It's just so bizarre.
That is really weird. It's, I see, the thing is with these cases, it's like, I always feel bad when they're cold, because it's like there's no closure.
Yeah.
Right.
But at the same time, like, I remember Tiny saying this one time to me. It was like, does closure, like, will it make you feel better, or will it make you feel worse? Like, will it make, like, does it feel better having not known, or like, will it give you some form of like, oh yeah, this is like, okay, now I know what happened? Because it could really release a whole nother thing of like hurting and everything like that.
Yeah, I mean, of course, you lost your child, especially. Gosh,
Yeah,
you're losing a sibling and a child, so
Yeah,
it's never easy.
You lost the 2 kids you had 2 years between one another. It wouldn't be easy.
Oh. But, like, another weird thing is that the autopsy reports also confirm no drugs, broken bones, bullet wounds, or knife wounds.
Wow, no broken bones.
So they ruled it as accidental, but like, still something's got to have happened for him to be in that position.
Yeah,
it's just... maybe like, you think maybe like it was a thing of like, maybe like teenagers being teenagers, it could be like maybe he was out with like a friend or something, and the friends was like, oh hey, how funny would it be if you did this? And he did that. The friend, he couldn't get out. Friend realizes the mistake and tries to hide it. I don't know. I'm throwing ideas out there.
It's like, you're a shit person if you do that, if you just leave your mate to suffer.
Exactly. You're a terrible person, but I wouldn't put it past like some people to do it. Is there anything else we want to talk about with the boy in the chimney?
I mean, this is a strange one because like,
yeah,
they had a suspect, but they didn't really investigate it. They didn't really follow through. And there's just like little details that it's like, well, what about the bar being like placed along the fireplace, or just like his clothes being neatly folded? Like, it shows that he was in the property at least once during the day, but why was it just a shirt? That's the thing that confuses me.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the guy that was the suspect, his name's Andrew Richard Newman. He's currently serving time in prison, so if he did kill this guy, at least he's behind bars now.
Is he serving time for, like, something else? Like, did they mention what other thing he's
Yeah,
like,
he's
serving
arrested
time
on
for?
suspicion of a fatal stabbing in New Mexico.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, apparently he has a history with violence, especially knife crime.
Gotcha. But also, like, there was no knife wounds, so...
No.
He also had a history of battery, but that's also like there was no broken bones. There was like no sign of like, you know, a fight or anything. Yeah.
Oh my god.
He also the suspect Andrew also said he might have killed another person, but again, they didn't really investigate it, which is bizarre.
It's bizarre.
Yeah, it says here the cops had indeed found a woman stuffed in a barrel in Taos, but already had someone in custody for it and decided to stick with that guy instead. Years later, I found out that the caretaker had died in a bar fight, and without him, the cops didn't have much in the way of evidence. Somehow, so this case against Andy was dropped too. Jesus.
So it could be like, you think maybe that might be a copycat killer or like the same guy?
Maybe the same guy.
Copycat. I don't know. Yeah, that one is sad.
It is.
Alright, so do we want to move on to another case?
Tiny, do you want to say a case?
And would you like to share with the class?
Oh, my assignment? Okay, the one I wanted to focus on was the murder in the jungle, ? The case of Chris Kemmers and Lisanne Faroon. So, 2 girls, unfortunately, got lost in the jungles of Panama for several weeks. Let me see my notes here. I want to make sure I have everything correct.
I think I might have heard a bit about this one.
Yeah, they remained
but I don't think I know the whole case.
They remained missing for several weeks. Locals began to stumble on strange clues in the case and in the area after they vanished, including a camera containing hundreds of photos that can't be explained and their mobile phones.
Yes. I've heard of this one.
Bizarre. I said that's bizarre.
It is strange because, like, I have, like, this case went on for, like, a really, really long time.
When did this happen?
It happened in June 17th. I don't have the year. But they searched for the girls for 10 days. 10 weeks later, on June 17th, 17 kilometers from Boquete, a local found a backpack that belonged to Lisanne 8 hours away from the summit. Because the summit they were actually hiking on was only 2-3 hour, like a 2-3 hour hike. But they unfortunately, like, went off trail and they were never seen again.
Trail. See, I don't want to, like, I'm definitely not victim blaming here, but it's like the thing of, like, that's a big thing with hiking and stuff. You never go off trail.
Especially if you're in, like, especially if you're in a place that you don't know.
Yeah, so part of me wonders, like, is there a reason they went off trail, or, like, were they just being like, oh, let's go explore over here? Because I feel like, does it say that they are, like, well-seasoned hikers and, like, really, like, experienced?
No, like, I think they wanted more of a challenge because the hike itself is only 2 to 3 hours, and, like, that area is huge, so it shows that they wanted more of a challenge and they wanted to explore a little bit more.
Okay.
They
still
should have been they could have been smarter about it, potentially. I know that sounds horrible, because, you know.
And this isn't me, like, dissing them, like, whatsoever. It's just like, oh, this is, like, still a really sad thing that happened.
Yeah.
It's just, it could have been prevented, like a lot of murders. So they just gone. They're just gone, right? Poof.
That's the thing, like, a local found Lisanne's backpack, which is, again, 8 hours away from the summit, so not too far from the hike. They believe
still, like, a whole day.
Yeah, they believe that the backpack may have drifted down the river due to the location of the village where it was found. But the backpack, what was strange, was in immaculate condition. All the items were clean. This suggests that the backpack may have been placed
Really?
there.
That's interesting and
Okay, that like
suspicious.
picks it up a little bit. Like, ooh,
Yeah. Foul play.
there has to be foul play, but also, I don't know. I don't know. It's so weird to tell with like the ones where it's like they go hiking in a foreign country, because it's like foul play could be involved, but it also could have been a thing of people just being dumb, or like an animal. But also, if it was an animal, I don't think the thing would be like the backpack would be found in pristine condition either.
No, that's a key piece of information.
I think your animal theory might go out the window as soon as I explain more of what they found.
Please
Okay, let's
go
see
on.
what we found.
Okay, several sets of fingerprints were found on the backpack, but no leads were made.
Okay, that throws it out the window.
And according to the investigators, on the camera that was in the backpack, 130 photos were found, except one that was intentionally deleted.
Oh.
Image 508 was the last photo before the deleted photo.
Is that the
Dutch-
selfie?
No, it's not the selfie. It's actually before the last photo. It was just like darkness. Like it seems like the girls wanted to use the camera as like a light, or they tried to hail down like copters. But
Yeah,
there's
with the
one really
flash.
bizarre photo that they found, which was, let me see, where are my notes? It was a picture of the back of Chris's head.
Oh.
Oh.
The image was taken from behind.
Huh.
So it was just a picture of her head. It was just like an image of her hair, and then the photos just stopped.
Oh, that's strange, actually.
So, like, someone other than those pair took it.
Yeah.
For sure.
And then they tried to retrieve the photo that was deleted, but were not successful. They determined the person who deleted it used the computer to make it unretrievable.
Huh.
Oh. I didn't know that was possible.
Yeah, me neither. That sounds like, well, hold on. I think we have technology to actually retrieve photos, but no, they said they couldn't.
Well, depending on what
thing
year
is, like,
it was, it could have been before the cloud was a big thing.
It could be. Because
That's
the thing is,
true.
like, on iPhone, there's the cloud, but also, like, if you delete a picture and go to your photos, scroll down a little bit. This is if you have an iPhone. I'm not sure if it's the same thing on Android. You go scroll down a little bit, all the way to the down to utilities. There's a file called recently deleted.
Yep.
So you can and it gives you like 30 days to recover a photo.
I mean, this was 2014, so
Oh yeah, that did.
maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah, when did the cloud get popular?
I don't know.
Like
Let's see.
2016, maybe a couple
Yeah.
years after.
Yeah, 2 years too early, unfortunately, for them.
A bit too early. Advancement, but also like advancement of technology. Like that also shows like how far we've gone.
Yeah,
We've come with it.
Yeah.
Because I feel like a lot of murder cases could have been solved if we like had the cloud. I don't know.
Yeah, like a lot of, obviously, murders from the 60s and 70s could have been solved if DNA didn't come around in the 90s but came around earlier.
I don't know. I feel like a lot of murders and just cases in the 60s and 70s could have been solved by A, not picking up hitchhikers,
Yeah.
and B, not opening that damn door.
Yeah.
People were a little too friendly
Unguarded.
in the 60s.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were like, fuck it, come into my house.
Hey, I just
Come
met this
on
guy 5 minutes ago and I'm going on holiday with them, and then they were never seen again.
It's like Gabby Hannah. Did you guys hear the thing about Gabby Hannah? How she let like a stranger in her house,
Yeah.
and supposedly she like yeah, that was a whole thing.
I did not hear about this.
So Gabby Hannah, do you know who she is? Like the influencer.
Yes.
Okay, so she has been, she's like a huge influencer. It's been like she's been diagnosed with like bipolar disorder and multiple, different like personality disorders and everything. Not like DID, but like she has a lot wrong with her, and she needs help. But the thing is, recently she let a complete stranger come into her house. And she like filmed it and everything like that. And she it was like a whole thing that like she posted on TikTok and everything like, "Hey, I just let this stranger in my house. I've never met him." And they like hung out for a day or something like that, but it was like she didn't know him at all.
And he also took the time
Right.
to go around and snoop around her personal belongings and also take videos and put them on
Exactly.
TikTok, which is a massive invasion of privacy, obviously.
And people were like,
Why?
"Don't do that." And she was like,
Because she's
"Why
mentally ill and
not?"
he
I'm like,
wanted to help. Quote unquote
and,
help.
and
Why would they do?
she's like, "Oh, well, why is that a bad thing?" Well, duh. Did you not see what happened in the 60s?
Why? Why would they do this?
It, man, these people are dumb.
I
Claire.
guess.
That's why Tumblr should have existed in the 60s. I feel like if Tumblr existed in the 60s, it would have been worse.
Oh God, Beatlemania would have been even
Yeah.
more intense.
Oh, that would have been wild.
Oh, man. Alright. Yeah, I don't know. It's just, it's what's bamboozling me is the photos. Because
Yeah.
it's like, hang on. Forest, jungle. It's like the forest. It's like the forest in real life.
Hmm.
Murder, disappearance.
I
I
hope
want
the
to look at
stream
more.
looks and sounds fine, by the way, chat.
Just talking into the void.
Yeah. Hello.
Hello there.
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Oh yeah, there it is. The
Hello.
death of the Sand. Did they like? Okay, so like, did they find? Oh, what am I saying? Like, did they find the bodies? No, they didn't. I don't think they. You mentioned that.
I mean, I still have more notes.
Please
Keep going.
continue.
Keep going.
Okay, so we were left off at the photos. So,
Yes.
and I also forgot to mention the phone record shows several attempts to call emergency services, but none of the calls went through due to reception. So that's also a thing.
It's actually not true. Regardless of reception, you can actually call 911.
Yeah.
Well, they tried several times at different times as well, and they just one kind of went through, but again, due to reception, it just cut off like within seconds.
Wow.
Okay.
That's
Oh wait,
bad.
I remember. Like, oh, I forget. I'm forgetting. They're in Panama, not in the
Yeah.
U.S. In the U.S. In the U.S., regardless of cell phone service, you can call emergency services.
Yeah, they're like in a
In
jungle.
a
I don't think
jungle.
cell phones work properly out there.
Yeah, I don't think there'd be random
Jungle.
cell towers to help them out.
Right. Forgetting that this is not in the U.S.
But again, over 40 photos taken on April 8th between 1 a.m. and 4 a.m. The photos were taken over a week after the girls vanished. Some believe they were
Oh.
using a camera flash to attract helicopters.
Mm.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
And again, Chris's pin wasn't put in correctly after 11:30, April 15th, but she can be seen in the bizarre photo on April 8th. So on April 5th, she tried to put in her pin, but not correctly. And in April 8th, she was seen in that weird ass photo that was taken from behind.
Oh,
So do you think for
that's
that
weird.
duration they were with someone?
Maybe they found
but
someone.
and it gets weirder.
Okay.
Law enforcement believe foul play was involved, but after 79 days after they vanished, more discoveries were made. Shorts belonging to Chris were found upstream. A local guide upstream also discovered Lisanne's left foot in a boot.
Oh.
Oh.
Oh, that's
Intact,
okay,
by the way. The
Intact.
boot was, and the foot was completely intact, and the shoelaces on the boot were also like completely laced nicely.
Oh, that's weird.
How. This sounds gross, but how clean of a cut was her foot?
I don't
Like, was it
know,
ripped
but
off or just?
I think it was. Well, that's another thing that doesn't really make sense with the notes I have, isn't especially with. I'll get into it because then we start discovering more about like the decomposition of the bones themselves, which add a
Oh,
lot
I
of
love
questions.
decomposition.
Okay, go forth.
Okay, so these bones were discovered where they believe the nighttime photos were taken, and on the same riverbank, 33 more scattered bones were found, mainly from her left leg.
Oh,
Hmm. So they matched. Oh, huh. There is
And
foul play.
absolutely.
on August 29, 2014, a ball of skin from Lisanne's left shin was found.
I'm sorry, a ball?
A ball of skin.
Ew, what the
Ew.
fuck? A ball? How would you even know it's skin at first sight?
Oh yeah,
Right.
that's skin right. That's skin alright.
Also, they also found one half of Chris's pelvic bone, and right ribs were found later on too.
Holy shit. People's just chucking them about.
Someone was very, like, intentional in, like, disposing of it, or,
Oh
like,
yeah.
scattering it, making it look like an animal or something.
But it gets weirder.
Oh boy.
But wait,
Alright,
there's
so-
more.
Forensic pathologists discovered that the bones were still in early stages of decomposition. Her bone marrow had yet to decompose, which is completely opposite of Chris's bones. Chris's bones were found bleached.
Bleached? Bleached?
Yep.
Wow.
Well, okay, so as someone who collects bones,
Hey, Lexi.
and
thank you.
oh, okay, so I collect bones. I like to go out and like get animal bones
Mhm.
and everything. But here's the thing, like, hydrogen peroxide is the most preferred method of like bleaching bones. But if you bleach bones, you're like basically halting, or like you're like disinfecting, but you're also like speeding up the decomposition,
Yeah.
and you're like kind of pausing it from like decomposing anymore. So, huh?
Exactly. That's the strange thing. These girls died in different times and in different conditions.
Gee, so
what-
they must have been like
Separated or something.
separated and kept somewhere whilst they
Yeah.
dealt with one and then dealt with the other.
Oh my god, that's ew.
That's awful.
That is terrible.
They just wanted to go
Like-
hiking.
Like if someone, like, imagine if you're like going hiking with your friend and you're separated because nothing, like, that's the big thing, you gotta stay together too. But I'm assuming that like they were also very adamant of like, we have to stay together. So someone had to have like separated them and took them to like a second location.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh man, does it get any weirder?
No, that's pretty much all that they found of those two women. Panama officials deemed it. They considered it a homicide, but due to lack of evidence, it was deemed an accident and then closed. But Dutch
Bollocks.
officials believe differently because this is extremely bizarre.
It's definitely
No
a
suspects, I'm guessing.
homicide.
Yeah, bleached bones, suspicious.
It's suspicious,
Suspicious.
as Bailey Sarian would say. Yeah, there's no suspects. That makes it worse, honestly. Like,
Yeah.
it's one thing if you have a suspect, because it's like, oh yeah, well, maybe we could theorize that it's this dude, but now it's like, okay, there's nothing.
Oh, it's Paul.
Hey, Paul,
Hey, Paul.
welcome in. Hope you're doing well.
Paul. What up, Paul? Oh,
Fuck's sake,
Oh,
Leon.
jeez.
the bones accidentally fell into a washing machine in the Panamanian woods.
Get out of here.
No, get out of town.
But yeah, that's
That's
the
weird.
one that always bothers me, especially the condition of both of the bones,
Oh,
how they were
yeah.
found.
I feel like in terms of crime scenes, I feel like a jungle in the Panamanian woods, like a different, like, I feel like that's the, I don't want to like give credit to the murderer or whoever, like that, I feel like that case as is, like, it was doomed from the start because it's in the jungle. Like, how are you gonna find a suspect? The suspect could have fled like way, like immediately or something like that. Or they could have lived very remotely off the map.
Yeah. Not to mention what that one person said about the backpack. They said that it might have just been placed there.
Right, right. So maybe,
Yeah.
do you think, like, with the backpack being placed there, do you think maybe, like, this person was, like, trying to get rid of the evidence, or were they, like, doing that thing that killers do where they're like, ooh, come find me?
Well,
Hmm.
I don't know, maybe, but at the same time, I feel like they're trying to get rid of evidence, but sometimes when people get rid of evidence, they just chuck it in the water. Because if they were trying to get rid of evidence, why wouldn't they have, like, destroyed the camera, destroyed their phone, or, like, gotten rid of their clothes? Because a lot of, like, their clothes was still in the backpack. Like, their bathing suits, their sunglasses are still in the backpack. And again, in perfect condition. So,
Do you think maybe something supernatural happened?
I think maybe it wasn't well planned out. They probably saw an opportunity, two vulnerable women, and went with it. And they tried to discard evidence, excuse me, remains, and have somehow gotten away with it because everything's so muddy.
Right, right, right.
Like the pictures are all over the place. And obviously, the one they deleted has to be the most important.
yeah. Not to mention that
Yeah.
strange photo of just the back of
Her head.
Chris's head.
Yeah.
See, that's the
It
one
was-
that's throwing me off. I'm not really curious about like, the deleted photo. I'm more curious of, like, what was the back of the head doing?
Yeah, it was just
why.
like her. It was just hair. It was just like her hair.
I think maybe it could be a dismembered head.
Probably. And it doesn't show anything else. There's one photo I forgot to mention that shows the girls like looking kind of worried. I believe it was Chris in the photo, but she's like turned back and she has like a worried expression on her face. She's just like standing in a riverbank, but she's looking kind of worried.
So
Ooh,
do you
yeah.
think they were being followed? That's why they went off track.
Maybe that could be it.
Probably, but I don't know. It's just such a distinct difference from the photos they were taking earlier that day and then to like the night photos. Because like in the earlier photos they're smiling, and that one photo she's like looking like really distressed, and she's just like, so she might have also been distressed because they might have been lost, but at the same time it's like, why take a picture of you being
Right.
lost? Like that's also strange.
Like, the anxiety is, like, sitting in.
Mm-hmm.
That is a strange one indeed. That one, I honestly, like, did not know that much about the case.
No, me either.
But that's the photos, and now that you mentioned, like, more photos were found, because I only knew about, like, the selfie and, like, the deleted one, but I didn't know that there was, like, 2 other ones found.
Right. I did my digging.
Digging. You really tickled my brain this time.
Good job.
This one makes me really upset because again, that situation is nightmarish.
Yeah.
Being lost in a jungle.
This is why I don't go outside.
This is why we're doing why we're sitting here right now.
We're sitting here. I'm also like, I make it a point to be unfriendly as well around strangers, especially creepy ones, because it's like, get away from me.
Nurse, you're so sweet though. You make friends with everybody.
That is true. Like, if you met me, I'm definitely not gonna be like this in real life, but because it's like, I know you, but
it's good to be cautious.
Like,
yeah.
Still, I'm a very cautious person. I've always has been, because of like, because, well, one, stranger danger, that's like ingrained into our brain as a kid. Also of a case that happened fairly recently when I was in school. Sorry, my throat is dry.
Hydrating time, baby.
Hydrate,
Yummy.
chat. I just did.
Drink some water.
But yeah, Nurse, what's the case you want to talk about first?
Yeah.
Alright, let me share with the class.
Class.
Okay.
I can't wait to see your PowerPoint. Now I'm thinking if we were an actual group in class, I think we would have like aced our project.
Yeah.
I think we would have too, because we're like, this has been going on for like a solid like 42 minutes, dude. Like, ace in that project.
Yeah, already.
yeah.
Like, we smashing it.
Back in college, it was like, all right, give a thing of like, I don't know. Anyway, let me find my notes really quick because I like closed out of a tab that had my notes. Pick a number between 1 and 3.
Ooh.
I was going to say 2 as
all
well.
right.
Hee. Strain in the
Okay.
middle, baby.
Hell yeah.
The second case I had on my brain. Cleon, get ready for this. Drum roll, please. Cleon, get ready. Killdozer. We're talking Killdozer.
Hey, just for Cleon, this one's dedicated to Cleon Q.
This one's for you, bestie.
Alright,
Now,
so...
I suggest draw you guys in this exact scenario. Please, Paul, I will pay you real world money.
Now I have a message to draw you guys in this exact scenario. What scenario? This podcast scenario or
Paul's
the
doing a
Killdozer?
PowerPoint at school.
Oh yeah, please do. Oh, wait, Tiny, didn't you draw that once? It was me talking about my FNAF PowerPoint.
Yeah.
Yes, I have that still.
That's our group chat photo.
Podcast scenario, not the murder. Well,
Thank you for clarifying.
that's after hours.
Okay,
Oh.
so Killdozer. Before I get into the Killdozer thing, I want to get in more like into the guy, like the actual guy itself,
Please.
because
I didn't Google this, so I know nothing.
I didn't look up anything for this
because
one.
see, this happened like in my state too. Like it's always Colorado again.
Why is it always Colorado?
Yeah, what the fuck is
It's
up with you
Colorado.
guys?
Y'all okay?
Look at Cleon go. He's like rah. He's pogging right now, pogging in this chair. All right, so.
Sounds like something you would do now. Commit a murder and then talk about it on a true crime podcast. You know, just thinking one step ahead.
Because that's the thing, like, it sounds like something we do now. Commit a murder and then talk about it. Yeah, that is. Okay, that would make a really good horror movie, though. Anyway.
I'm writing that down.
Write that down.
Make notes.
Okay, so, I want to talk about the guy who did it. His name is Marvin Heymeyer. Heymeyer? I'm gonna call him Heymeyer. So, Marvin John Heymeyer. He was born October 28th, 1951, and he died on June 4th, 2004. I was but a 3-year-old when this happened. A wee lad.
Oh, I was 6.
I know.
What was the year again?
2004.
2004. 2004 is when it happened. I was a 3-year-old.
I was 8.
Okay.
Nurse baby.
I am baby. I'm true baby. Anyway, so, he was like, so he like owned a automobile repair shop. Specifically, he worked with mufflers and stuff like that. Like, and a muffler is that thing that like keeps your car from being noisy and stuff. But he has like, this shows he's had experience with working with vehicles and stuff like that. So there's also like a really good documentary. Paul, did you watch that documentary I told you about, Tread? Like, that Tread is a really good documentary. Anyway, if you're really interested in like this case, like if you fixate on things like I do, Tread is a good movie to like watch about this, because it's done really well. But basically, Heymeyer, he had like an argument with like Granby town officials, and it was over like fines for like supposedly violating like a health ordinance or something like that. So he purchased a property, but there was no sewage system, and he had fines for like not dumping and like disposing of sewage like properly or anything from his business, because he also owned a small business too, or like, and I think the small business was the repair shop and like something else. But he, so it didn't have like a place to dump sewage, so like think about like if if you bought a place that like, so you buy a house and there's a bathroom, but there's like no septic tank. It's just like going anywhere, not going anywhere, just chilling. That's kind of like, it's not the exact thing, but like that's kind of like the same vibe of that same vibe that we're going for.
Mm-hmm.
So in short, because of like the whole thing with the city being against him and stuff like that, he like found a warehouse and like welded, and like this was completely done in secret. He didn't like, nobody knew that this was happening. He had secretly modified a Komatsu D355A bulldozer by adding layers of steel and concrete. So what he would do, he took like steel and welded it to the bulldozer, and then he would like space it out and everything. He basically like, created a box kind of thing, and then put like another thing of steel, but then filled those like boxes of steel with like concrete. So that thing was indestructible. So
Shit.
he his whole thing was like he wanted to go out and like bulldoze the entire city, but he was after like the town hall and everything like that, in the mayor's house. But he actually succeeded. Um he succeeded in like demolishing like a good like chunk of the city. Like he destroyed like 99% of the city, dude.
Fucking
Um
hell.
now I know it was nuts, and it was like completely like, it was like recorded on like TV. There's helicopter stuff. It was a huge thing when this happened. Of course, I don't remember it very well. Like, kind of do, but like, I was 3 again.
Yeah.
Um, but basically, they could not stop him. They couldn't stop him, dude. He just kept going.
Wow.
Um, now, um, some like background on Heymeyer. He was originally from South Dakota, but he moved to Grand Lake a bit like later on in his life. And apparently like it's the whole thing of like he didn't have any relatives
Mm.
in like Granby, Colorado. Um so he was like and everyone of course said he's a very likable person. He was really sweet, bend over backwards for anyone like type of person. But he was very like um he was very like he's what's the word? He didn't budge for a lot of things. He very much like stood his ground kind of thing.
Yeah.
Um, because the thing is, eventually, um, he was married to a lady called Christy Baker, and she claimed that her husband was threatened after refusing to pay the disputed muffler repair thing. And eventually he paid. Um, Baker said her husband. Oh yeah, so her husband, like, no, he was not married to Christy Baker. My bad. But this lady's husband was like scared of him because he didn't want to like pay the disputed muffler repair or something like that, because it would like this was the first sign of like him being off,
Mm.
because he muffler shop, someone took it in, and he was like, I don't think I want to pay this. And he was like, dude, what the hell? But this guy literally only had to pay him $124. But the whole zoning dispute thing, it was like he had bought like 2 acres of land um, for like his business and everything.
Mm.
And it was like, it was his land. Like, he didn't have to like, it was done, paid for, and everything. Um, but yeah, it was like a thing. But he didn't have a septic tank or anything like that. It was just poop everywhere, dude.
Just shit all
So
over the place.
yeah, there was no place to properly like dispose of
Ugh.
like waste and everything. But also there was construction going on by his property, and the stuff by his property was like uh he didn't like, he was like, hey, I don't like this, dude, like, come on, you should at least ask me.
Mm.
And they they were like, well, that sucks to be you. And they continued with it anyway. So, yeah, the bulldozer itself, like, he, it was air conditioned, and, like, there was video cameras. It was, like, a decked out killdozer, dude. It was decked
Goodness.
out so that, like, he had, like, firearms put to it and explosives. There was 200 rounds of ammunition fired on the bulldozer, but there was no effect.
Holy shit. He
And
would have
they
kitted this
tried
out.
everything. Exactly. There was no way of like doing this, and there was like so much like bulletproof stuff on it. But yeah, he like demolished the whole thing. But and there was like videos, like he recorded a whole monologue too before he went on his rampage, and eventually he they stopped him. He got stopped. But it wasn't in the way of like, no, they didn't take it down. He went to go bulldoze like a supermarket or something, but the supermarket had a basement, and the floor could not support the killdozer. So when he went in to go and bulldoze it, the floor collapsed in on itself, and he got stuck. Like imagine a tank. So the tank.
I've just
like,
googled it and it looks like a fucking tank. That's wild.
Yeah, it's basically. So the treads, they got stuck in. They got like stuck into the store, and he was done. He was over. And of course, he didn't want to face the police. So he just offed himself right there.
Goodness.
Yeah, it was wild. Oh wait, no, it was a hardware store. It was a hardware still. It was a very large store anyway. So, yeah, that's the killdozer story.
Wow.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it was nuts.
But he didn't actually, like, did he actually kill anyone?
Nope, there was no casualties.
Oh. Well, I guess that's a win, kind of.
That is a win. There was like a couple of people who were injured, and it was like, mainly police officers and stuff like that, but who cares? Yeah, who cares about that? But anyway,
they're irrelevant anyway.
they were
Goodness
fine.
gracious.
But it's like, yeah,
Wow.
they like nobody died.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah,
It's
that's
just
good.
property damage, I guess.
Yeah.
So you were probably wondering if the killdozer is still like there. Like,
I
is
would
it still
put that in a
like...
fucking museum, honestly.
Here's the thing.
Please.
Oh my god.
On April 19th, 2005, the town announced plans to scrap the killdozer.
No.
The plan involved dispersing individual pieces to many scrapyards to prevent souvenir taking.
No.
So,
Cop outs.
yep, they got rid of it. It's done. It's gone. It was... It's so sad, because it's like, keep that.
Yeah, that's
cool.
like a moment of history.
It's a history thing, but they were like, no, get rid of it. Anyway, back to the whole thing of Americans erasing history. Yeah, that's the killdozer. That's the killdozer. Who's nuts, dude?
Thank
That
you,
is
Cleon, for recommending that, and
Yeah,
Nurse
thanks,
for
Mel.
explaining the story.
Yeah, thank you, Yuka.
Yeah.
Jesus, that was one hell of a story.
That
Goodness.
was indeed fucking bonkers.
See, the thing is, if you watch the documentary, so the way it's done is like there's like reenactments and interviews for like, the first like, it's like an hour and a half. So the first hour is like, the whole thing of like, oh, this is what happened, or oh, I was his like girlfriend or his wife or whatever, and oh, I was his neighbor, like that stuff.
Yeah.
But like the last half hour, like 20 minutes of the movie, it's all helicopter footage. It's all helicopter or body cam footage. It's nuts, dude.
Wow. What is this? Documentary, right?
It's called Tread.
Tread. Okay.
Tread, and it came out in 2019. I watched it with my dad, like, I think last year.
All right. That's going in the to watch list because I'm very curious.
It's a very short documentary. It's like, how long is it?
An hour
It's
29.
like, what it is? That's like a sit down and watch.
Goodness gracious.
Yeah, we
Alrighty,
can
I
watch that.
added it to my list.
It's really good. It's a really good documentary.
Wow. So he pimped out a bulldozer and
Pimp my ride.
Tried and failed to go on a rampage.
Yeah. Man's got stuck in a hardware store and it was over.
Man's greatest enemy, the Home Depot.
It's a Lowe's.
Of course, it was a Lowe's.
No, it wasn't. It was like some local hardware store.
Like
But
a
I feel
little
like-
mom and pop shop.
Yeah, a little mom and pop shop. Because again, Granby is a very small town. Let me double check. I've never been to Granby. I'm gonna be honest with you.
How dare he not support his local small business?
Ooh, he was a small business. Yeah, so as of 2020, Granby has a population of 2,000, like about 2,000 people.
Goodness, that's tiny.
Very small town.
Wow.
Yeah, but like that place is only known for the Killdozer now.
Hmm.
Other than that, it was like nobody.
I mean, I'd rather be known for that than like Milwaukee. They've got a lot going on there, so.
All right, so we want to go back in rotation of Jess hitting us with another one.
Aye. Well, this one's
Another one.
from my own
Yes.
soil.
What,
Jess, you better not have another case of mine.
Do you have the case of Harold Shipman?
No.
Do you,
I've never
Nurse?
heard of this one. Nope,
Ah.
I've never heard of this one.
So, Harold Shipman, he's
You said Shipman, and I was like, wait, his name is Shipman.
Shipman.
Oh no.
Ship, like a boat.
So he's deceased. He died in 2004. But he was a British doctor and serial killer who murdered his patients. I won't tell you how many he murdered yet, because that's a good surprise. But according, Shipman murders raised troubling questions about the powers and responsibility of the medical community in Britain, and about the adequacy of procedures for certifying sudden death. So he was a local doctor in the town of Hyde, which is in Greater Manchester. And he used to go around to various elderly patients, take care of them. And in 1998, one of his patients, an 81-year-old woman, was discovered dead in a home only hours after Shipman visited her. Her family were perplexed by the suddenness of her death, as she appeared to be in good health, and by the fact that her will had been changed to benefit Shipman. He basically changed her will to leave him her estate, which was valued at £400,000. So that's a pretty good estimate for a fucking home. And he insisted that no autopsy was necessary, which was weird. So I watched a documentary on this. Basically, he used to just go around to elderly patients, he'd become their new doctor, and then very suddenly afterwards they'd pass away, and he'd try and pass it off. Well, Tiny, what did you do? Your black screen.
Oh.
Oh no,
Hold on.
black box of death.
Oh, I guess. What the hell? I had to have it on.
There we go.
Interesting. I had to have the file on my desktop. Interesting. I just wanted to move it. Pardon that.
Jesus.
But yeah, basically this guy would go into elderly people's homes and bonk them off, say it was natural causes, and then try and change their wills so he'd come into money.
You're a doctor, don't you get money already?
Like, he worked, he got his medical degree in the 70s, But in 1975, it was discovered that he'd written several fraudulent prescriptions for opioids that he'd become addicted to. So he was barred and then put into drug rehabilitation, and then he came back in 77 as a general practitioner, and this is when the murders started happening. So from 1977 to 2000, when he was convicted of only 15 counts of murder, one count of forgery, he was sentenced to life in prison, but ended up committing suicide whilst he was in there. But after his death, they looked into several other cases, and in 2005, an official report found that he had killed an estimated 250 people beginning in 1971.
Oh.
Oh my gosh.
250 people.
Oh my
That's
god.
very close to 300.
Yep.
Oh my god.
What?
Oh my god.
In most cases, Shipman injected the victim with a lethal dose of painkillers, diamorphine, and then signed a death certificate attributing the incident to natural causes. His motives were unclear. People don't know if he was seeking avenge the death of his mother, who, when he was a boy, got lung cancer and died, or if he was practicing euthanasia to remove the older population of people who might have otherwise become a burden to the healthcare system. A third theory is that he's just done it for the money.
Oh my god.
You're a doctor, like, you should be earning a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, you earn a lot as is.
The one question that has plagued investigators was how such a large number of deaths could have occurred without raising suspicions of foul play. This was all the more baffling because Shipman's patients were normally healthy shortly before their encounters with him. The fact that Shipman took advantage of his patients' trust in him as a doctor made his crimes practically audacious to the public. But yeah, I can't believe they investigated and found 250 cases that were the same from 1971 all the way up to 2000 when he was convicted.
The thing is, I want to
years.
say, like, it should have been weird that he didn't want to call an autopsy, but it's also he was targeting specifically, like, older people. So it would be like, oh, okay, work.
Like, because I think because the town was small at the time, I think he was the only general practitioner of this community, so he would rule the deaths. So obviously he could just pass them off as natural causes, because he's the one fucking offing them.
Yeah, that and, like, I mean, it would have been way more suspicious if it was, like, someone who was, like, middle-aged or a lot younger.
But it's still the fact that he thought he could pass them off just because they're elderly, even though they were all in good health. So obviously the families picked up on this real fucking fast because they know their family member.
That goes to show you, nobody is safe in the true crime world.
No.
It's anybody.
Seriously, my goodness.
Just put them down like dogs, jeez.
I'm not over the amount. 250?
No,
250 people beginning in 1971 all the way to 2000. That's 29 years.
That's unbelievable.
29 whole fucking years. He got away with that shit.
Did he like work with anyone else, or was just all him?
It was just
like
him.
There was no nurse.
All him.
Wow.
Yeah.
That seems like a lot of work on his part.
Me personally, I would not let this slide.
They're 29 years.
I'm appalled by that. Like, the sheer number. You even said, like, see, the thing is, when you said, oh yeah, you're not going to be prepared by this number, I thought you were going to say, like, a really weirdly, like, low number.
Nope.
Like, you hit us with 250. My God, dude.
he has blood on his hands, like absolutely.
But he was 57 when he killed himself in prison.
Good.
Oh. That still doesn't do justice by the
No.
people he hurt.
It doesn't, no. And
Wait.
he, like, changed their will so we can get money. That's stupid.
That's
Yeah.
horrible. Like, okay, did no one in the family notice, like, why is this random doctor getting my inheritance or, like, my house? Like, did no one ever think, like, that was suspicious or...
Yeah,
This
so
is
it
back
was
in
only
that-
one count of forgery, which was the 81-year-old woman in 1998 that he changed the will for. So obviously that was the biggest red flag of them all, because they were thinking, well, why would she do that for a doctor she just met? So I think that was the
Right.
beginning of his downfall.
It would be different if it was, like, a live-in nurse that was taking care of you for, like, a while.
Yeah.
Because that I can see you giving, like, some money, but, like, not, like, your whole ass inheritance. It reminds me, have you guys seen, like, the movie Knives Out with, like, Jamie Lee Curtis, Daniel Craig?
I have
Yes,
not.
I love that movie. It's so good.
It's on my
Movie. So
list.
basically, basically the whole thing is, like, it's a murder mystery, and
Yeah.
the nurse, he gets the inheritance of the guy who was murdered.
Right.
Why would you
And
spoil
everyone's
it?
like, I'm sorry, like, it's been out for a few years.
But Jess hasn't seen it.
I'll probably forget and then come round to watch it and be like, oh shit, this happens. Let's be real.
Like, it's like Uncut Gems. I'm not gonna spoil Uncut Gems though, because Jess is genuinely interested in seeing Uncut Gems too.
Uncut Jams.
Uncut Gems.
Uncut Jams.
You know, that was her
Jammies.
first acting role.
Really?
Like, she had never been in anything else.
Huh. The more you
It's
know.
interesting. The more you know.
But yeah,
I'm just a little bit like wondering like why only one person out of the 250
Like,
thought
Yeah.
to think like, like why like but then again they're the elderly, so they probably didn't have a lot of family to like investigate and ask questions. But again, if my
Probably
family
senile,
left me money and they said, "Oh, it's going to your doctor," I would be like, "Excuse me." I would be raising a couple eyebrows.
but I googled the population for this town, and obviously, population size is different over here. For basically, we have counties which equate to your states. So
Yeah.
the county is the big section, and then we have little towns and little villages within them.
Yeah, we have that here too, like in the States.
So out of he killed 250 people in one area. As of 2011, the population was 34,000. So that's not
My goodness.
massive.
That's like a small town.
My town is only 22,000 inhabitants. So they still should have picked up on something, but
Right.
it's still a busy enough place for, unfortunately, the elderly to go unnoticed in a working class environment.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
That is. I'm like, jeez, that's crazy.
Were no other doctors in this town?
I don't believe so.
Who's
I
the other
believe
one?
he was the only general practitioner at the time.
What? Not a single nurse.
Nope.
Just any. He was the okay. That's a little bit suspicious. I just. How could one town only have a single doctor to watch over? How many did you say? 22,000 people or 34,000?
34.
That seems like a little bit odd that there
We
isn't
could always-
more doctors.
We could always assume that maybe like some people like went to like a different doctor in a different county. I don't know.
That's true, but
It just depends
like a
on
lot.
where you are booked under, GP wise. So some practices can be quite small, some can be bigger. At my GPs, we probably only have 3 official doctors and 1 nurse, and then others that move around and come in from different areas that can like book
Right.
out a room.
I see what you mean.
Goodness. Okay, well that's putting it more into perspective. It's just the amount of people in the town for only one doctor. to look after. It just seems like insane.
That's weird.
It's also the fact that he did house calls. So doing house calls back then were more common than they are now. So
yeah, they are.
you
only
would
do a house
obviously,
call, like, mobile.
yeah, you'd obviously go into GP's office, but if they are elderly residents, then you wouldn't need to have 2-3 doctors come just to check one patient at their home. You would
Right.
just be their sole doctor, so they could be comfortable and know you. But it says here also about 80% of his victims were elderly women, but his youngest confirmed victim was a 41-year-old man, although suspicion arose that he had killed patients as young as 4. He is the only British doctor to date that has been convicted of murdering his patients, although other doctors have been acquitted of similar crimes or convicted on lesser charges.
Wow.
Oh my god.
Monstrous stuff.
Yeah.
Terrible.
That's like the elderly. Come on, man.
The elderly, it's low hanging fruit, but also like
Children too.
Mm-hmm.
children. You're specifically going after vulnerable people.
Yeah, and like
Show like how scummy you are.
Jess, did he ever confirm a motive?
No, he killed himself before they could really quiz him.
Damn.
But yeah, they're the theories that I read out earlier that he either did it to avenge his dead mum, he either did it for money, or he did it... what was the other one I said?
Like euthanasia.
Yeah, that's it, just practice that.
Jeez.
I know.
Why the heck would you want to practice that?
I mean, euthanasia, like, it's like assisted suicide kind of thing.
Yeah.
I get why you would want to practice it, but also it's like...
You should do it on people that are consensual.
Yeah, that are consenting to it.
I know it's a moral debate.
Oh, me, like, morally, like, I'm all for assisted suicide.
Yeah.
Just because it's like, you know, like, some people are just like, oh, well, it's my time.
I think if you're in that much pain and suffering and you want it to end, and there is a peaceful way out, you should be able to take that.
Like if you're a cancer patient, you only got 4 weeks to live.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Yeah, I think
There's
medically that's okay.
Yeah.
There's like a lot of forms that go into doing an assisted suicide though. Like it's a big like lengthy process, and like you have to have a trusted person and everything like that. You have to it's what we call a shovel buddy. A shovel buddy is someone who is like, you have it signed off, and it's like in legal thing where it's like, okay, if I am basically in a vegetative state, you can pull the plug.
I agree with what Cleon said.
Assisted suicides and DNRs should always be followed and allowed. Yeah, I agree. I have never met someone who's a DNR, but I've also never met someone who's had an assisted suicide either. It's kind of like organ donating too, being an organ donor too, in a way. Like some people don't do it for religious reasons, which is valid. Like if that is your religion and like not wanting to donate organs, sure, go ahead. But if you're doing it because it's like, oh, and these are my organs, I don't need them. Personally, it's like, for me, you know, I'm not very like super religious or anything, but I am a spiritual person.
Yeah.
I am an organ donor because it's like, I'm not gonna need them after I'm dead. Like,
yeah, same. I've also contemplated maybe donating my body to science when I've gone.
I don't think I'm gonna donate my body to science. But I want to be cremated.
I don't know. I'll have a think when it's closer to the time.
Right.
I want to be planted into a tree.
Oh yeah,
that's a good idea. Like
that, or shot into space. Just
cannonball.
Eat me up there.
Beam me up, Scotty.
Beat me up, Scotty.
But yeah, definitely donating my organs. Like, I don't need them. Just
Yeah.
take them. What am I gonna need them for?
Exactly. Take my stomach. Take like, here. That's the thing. Like, if you remember when I hurt my knee like really bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like when I thought I like maybe it was like when I was like at risk of tearing my ACL.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
So if you tear your ACL or like your Achilles heel or anything like that, like if it's torn at all or snapped, what they do is that they harvest those parts from a cadaver, and they basically just like put it in you, and your body adapts to that new part.
That's interesting.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, they harvest from a cadaver. It's like it's not like blood. So organs are different from like a blood type, kind of. Like you need to find sort of a match, but it's also a thing like, so organs. It's like you need to find a match, like a kidney or a heart, like things that like blood goes through.
Yeah.
But if you're getting like a skin graft or like a tendon put in, then it's like, okay, you don't need a match. It's like it's kind of a universal type thing.
That's interesting.
Really interesting. So it's like, Jess, if you were to snap your ACL or something like that, let's God forbid that happened.
Yeah.
Me or Tiny could be like, and me and Tiny were like somehow kicked the bucket. God forbid that happened as well.
Yeah, I've somehow outlived you both, weirdly, in the scenario.
So it's a race.
Tiny vampire, like you're winning this.
You're staying here forever. God damn, it's not real.
I win.
But yeah, God forbid, like any of those things happen. They could harvest from my body and be like, there you go. Kind of unrelated, but I learned that you can get a limb transplant. Oh yeah, that's right.
Paul.
It's like the face transplant thing.
They are so interesting, but like uncanny valley type.
I didn't know that was a thing.
What face
Have you
transplants?
seen the guy? There was like a guy who, like, he lost.
Is it like a skin graft?
They aren't super common. They're still pretty new within the medical world.
Now, if we want to go into, if you want to go next, go for it. But like piggybacking off of the face graft thing, that would go into my case as well.
I'm like, because when you said like face transplant, I'm imagining the movie Face Off with like John Travolta and like.
Oh, here we go.
That's what I'm imagining.
Well, kind of. They. We've got.
Oh yeah, that is really cool. Yeah, I've heard of that story, Cleon, where it's like, oh yeah, she got like a man's arm, like put onto her, and it like lost the hair and adapted to it, like her skin tone. I've heard of that.
Well, basically, with a face transplant, it's like I think they've tried it with like burn victims or I think one was a woman that was shot in the face, and they basically like take a dead person's face and wean it onto you and yours.
Yeah, it works just like a skin graft.
It's very interesting.
My case involves a face replacement, but Tiny, if you want to go on that, go for it, dude.
I mean, I'm still kind of floored that face transplants are a thing. Like, I find that very fascinating. Like, I know bone transplants are real, like
bone marrow things.
Yeah, there was an episode of Bones I watched recently. Like, a young girl got a bone transplant, and unfortunately, the bone actually had cancer in it, and like, the suspect was just selling off bone marrow with cancer in it to like several different patients. It was a good episode of Bones if you guys want to watch it.
Like an interesting episode.
Well, the first face transplant was in 2005, and I know I said, oh, it's still a new practice, but like 20 years of medicine is nothing in comparison to like fucking thousands of years.
Ooh.
I have not seen the old war facial reconstruction.
I have not either.
Me
I'm a little scared to look at it.
Old World War.
I mean,
how does one spell?
Let's see. I'm gonna Google it. World. Are we all Googling it right now?
Yes.
Yep. Oh my god.
Oh yeah, that's pretty fucking sick. That's done really well, actually.
Let's see.
Like, that's terrible that happened, but it's actually like pretty solid.
Dude, that's
Wow.
his entire fucking jaw's gone. That's so. Wow.
Like that's actually pretty solid, and it's.
Thank
do
you
you
for
guys remember
sharing
that?
that,
Like,
Cleon.
That's
If
actually not a bad job that they did.
That's really good.
backing off of facial reconstruction. Have you guys seen the horror movie Eyes Without a Face?
No.
Oh my god, that's like, so basically it was like the whole thing of like, so the horror movie, it like, so there's a girl,
Ew.
and it's like the daughter of like a doctor or
Yeah.
a scientist or something, and she has a very like deformed face and everything, so she wears a mask.
Mhm.
And this doctor, the whole plot is that he is finding the perfect face for her.
The mask creeps me out.
Well, I have seen this. It's on my list. I want to
I-
watch it so bad.
Is good.
Started
It's like that one episode of Twilight Zone.
Oh yeah. Man, I love Twilight Zone.
I started a chain reaction. You really have, Cleon.
I'm in the middle of a chain reaction.
Oh, ooh.
Is it my turn?
Yeah, it's your turn.
Yes.
This might take a while. I have a lot of notes because
Oh yes.
this case is very confusing. Like I have 2 paragraphs of notes.
Hit me.
Ooh.
Okay, this is the mysterious death of Joanne Maddock Remain. I don't know if you guys have heard it.
I've actually never heard of this one. Well, that's a lie. I've heard of it, but I don't know like what it is.
I've never heard
Wait.
of this.
I know you. Amugor, that's one of my friends. Hello.
Hello, Gore. Welcome in. I hope you're doing
Hello.
well. Thanks for joining us.
Oh,
How's it going?
Hello, friends.
Guy.
Aliens on Maple Street.
Oh wait, do we
See,
follow each
oh.
other on Instagram? I think we might.
that's one of my IRL besties.
Hey. The only thing I remember fully was watching Aliens on Maple Street. Now I want to see some Twilight stuff. Twilight Zone
That's
stuff.
my bestie. That's one of my besties.
Welcome in, Gore. It's a pleasure. Snuck away to work of an A.
Sky.
Hee hee.
But yes.
Too kind.
yes,
Thank you
it's-
for joining us.
Yes. Okay. Is it my turn? Well, yeah. This one's
It's like
the
it's
Twilight,
very
like,
confusing.
Mirror show or the
Black
Twilight
Mirror.
movies?
It's like Black Mirror.
It's like Black Mirror. And
Sorry,
Goosebumps.
Tiny.
It's like Goosebumps.
I love these.
Hey guys, sorry to be like that person, like, but I hate to be like out of nowhere, but Adam Levine blocked me on Instagram.
Are you kidding me?
It's okay. Okay. Alright, anyway,
Not Adam Levine.
continue.
That
Adam.
was such a segue.
Oh my god, beautiful.
Adam.
Anna.
That was the funniest joke I've ever made. I'm hilarious.
You might have made him mad. Okay. My brain just like short circuited with finding out that information first.
Alright, anyway, Joanne, the case of Joanne, someone.
Joanne Maddock Remain. In 2010, Joanne Maddock ran a quick errand to get gas, followed by prayer service. She then walks into a freezing lake to take her own life, according to police.
Mm.
From the moment they notify the police, the family's suspicious. The deeper they look into the case, they learn that nothing is what it seems.
Wait, I
So
think I
that's
do know this
basically-
one. I watched a documentary.
I don't know this
Oh.
one. I'm thinking
So
of a different
Jess
one.
is a little bit caught up. But yeah, I I have a lot of notes on this one, so bear with me. Okay, so let's start from the actual night she went missing. So, on the 10th, Romaine's car, a Lexus, was found abandoned by 3 police officers at a one-way road adjacent to the St. Paul Catholic Church, which is about 100 feet from Lake St. Clair. Her designer purse with money still inside was sitting on the passenger seat, but there were no signs of life anywhere near the area.
Uh-huh.
The 55-year-old was living with her children, 2 daughters, and a son on Morningside Drive at the time. So, her purse, which was filled with money, was there.
Yeah.
still inside on the passenger seat. So it obviously wasn't robbery.
No. Thank you, Gore.
Kinda run-
Thanks for coming on in.
Thanks,
I
Gore.
hope work
Guys.
continues to go well.
Hey, just listen to us.
Okay. So that's like another thing, but I have a bunch of notes, so please forgive me.
No, please go on because this one is weird.
Yeah, so
I like the weird
after
ones.
yeah, this one is definitely like this one I think about all the time. So, after officers came to their home around 9:30 to ask if Joanne was missing, her daughters, who were the ones awake at the time, frantically began calling their mom's phone, only to realize that they were unable to reach her. The last they knew, Joanne had gone to church to attend at 7 p.m. prayer service, which should only have lasted for about 15 to 20 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
When they realized their mother could be in trouble, they decided against police advice and headed to St. Paul to see what was going on. Once there, they were greeted with bright lights, cop cars, helicopters, and a full-fledged crime scene. There was an ongoing search for a missing person who was never reported missing.
Ooh.
So, the cops were already there,
Mm-hmm.
but they didn't advise the kids, which I think is already kind of like,
It's like,
interesting.
law enforcement not doing their fucking jobs correct. Funny.
I mean, they were there at the church. The
Yeah.
thing is like, how do they know she was missing before the kids even know their
Yeah.
mother was missing? So that's another thing that kind of confused me about this. So the kids never reported her missing, but the police already knew she was gone. Like, there was like a full brigade like outside of the church. Like, they knew already. So that's kind of sus.
Yeah.
All right. That same night, they were told that their mother was in the water of Lake St. Clair and that it looked like she walked in there herself. So that's another detail.
But
After all, there were...
Sorry.
What's it?
I was gonna say, but the thing is, like, it wasn't just a straight path into the river, was it?
No, I don't think so. And I think they found some weird stuff about like her footprints there too.
Yeah, I think she was barefoot. So I think she was either barefoot or she changed her shoes, if I remember correctly. And they saw footprints. It was like a steep, like, hill down to this lake. So it's not just accessible by walking. You'd have to, like, scooch down on your bum, I think.
Don't have any pictures of the lake, but I do know Joanne was wearing high heels on the night she disappeared. So if she did walk through a snowy area and cross some rocks to crouch her way down to the 2 seawalls and enter the lake, how were her high heels in perfect condition when her body was found?
Yeah.
As someone who wears heels, what the hell?
Yeah, that's not fucking possible.
Mm-hmm. So that's another kind of sus thing about this whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, alrighty. I have a bunch of notes about like her autopsy because I believe 3 autopsies in total were made because like none of them like showed anything like. Oh, let me just go in order because I have a lot of notes. Her clothes are covered in gray-brown algae, indicating that she had been there for quite some time. According to her autopsy report, Joanne's body was at the advanced stage of decomposition, meaning that her exact time of death could not be determined. Her cause of death, though, was stated to be from freshwater drowning. But here's the kicker. There was no water in her lungs.
So she clearly hasn't drowned.
It could be possible that she was dead long before she entered the lake.
Yeah. It just doesn't like... Whose fucking footprints were they leading to the lakes then? Did they ever... I wonder if they ever, like, looked at shoe size and shit.
Like, maybe that someone switched shoes with her?
Or did someone carry her down to the lake and dump her in?
I actually have some notes on the footprints. 2 officers spotted Romain's car at the church, and the second officer was concerned because he saw her car and no one else was around, the lawsuit says. He saw no one was in the car and found footprints leading down to the embankment of Lake St. Clair. but no footprints returning in the opposite direction. He also found imprints that indicated someone had been sitting on the break wall, leading him to believe a person might have fallen into the icy water. The water was searched by a dive team that night and into the next day, but her body was not found for more than 2 months, 30 miles away on the Canadian side of the Detroit River.
Oh.
Yeah, you're right, Paul. Who the fuck put her in there if she was already dead?
Yeah, who put her in there? And like,
And if there's no
them.
sets coming back, do you think it's possible that they like retraced their steps and walked in the same snowy footprints they'd already made? Like backwards? Or do you think that would be too much effort for someone?
I mean, this is already a lot of effort
Yeah.
to begin with.
I don't think they'd, stop and be careless.
right. That one's weird. I don't have a lot to put in on that. I don't have a lot of input to put on that one. That's bizarre.
And I have more.
But wait, there's more.
There's more. All right, where was I? Ah, yes. Because Romain's body were found in Canada, a Canadian coroner conducted the first autopsy. Her body was found by a fisherman in the Detroit River.
Mm-hmm.
It had been 2 months since she went missing. The Canadian coroner autopsy found Romain drowned, but he could not determine the manner of her death. Then the Michigan medical officer conducted their own autopsy after her body was released. The medical examiner came to the same conclusion, saying Romain drowned, but there was no certain determination about her manner of death. Homicide was less likely than suicide. The coroner determined because she did not have significant injuries, an accidental drowning also seemed quite unlikely because she did not have a reason to be near the water on a January night, court documents said.
She's got no water in her lungs. How could she drown?
Exactly. How could you drown?
And then her daughter actually asked for a third autopsy. So
I don't blame her.
Good.
Alright, so the third autopsy. A doctor at the University of Michigan said, Joanne Romain drowned, but the autopsy did not reveal why. Her daughter contends that there was evidence of a struggle. A decorative flap on her purse was missing, which had been in pristine condition earlier that night, and she had a bruise on her arm. Romain's body was found about 30 miles southwest of the location where she went missing. Her body was found on the Canadian side of the Detroit River in Ontario about 6 weeks after her disappearance. The Detroit River forms part of the boundary between the United States and Michigan and Ontario and Canada and connects Lake St. Clair adjacent to the church in the north with Lake Erie in the south.
God. That's bizarre.
So, the river flows southwest for about 32 miles between Detroit, Michigan, and Windsor, Ontario, Canada, according to Britannica. The state of Joanne Romain filed anonymously ruled in favor of the city. So, the lawsuit against the city of Grosse Pointe Farms, Grosse Pointe Woods, and public official alleging there's a cover-up involved in the death of Romain. So now we're dealing with the cover-up.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Because like you said before, if the police already knew she was missing before her family did, that's fucking weird.
Can I ask, okay, so is Joanne, was she a person of color? Because, do you think maybe, because I've heard of, people, not doing cases because the police are racist. Do you think maybe that has something to do with it?
I believe she was. Let me pull up a picture of her. Yeah. She might be. It's kind of hard to tell from her photos. But again, yeah, that also could play a part in it.
Because I know that some cases, go cold because, police are racist, yeah.
Yeah. But it's just... It's weird. It's weird. Wait. I don't know. What are we thinking right now, besties?
I don't know. To be honest with you, I can't think of anything because so much of it is the second I come up with a theory, it's oh, disproven because of this thing.
It's
This one's really bizarre.
just a lot of small details within it. Like, so she clearly wasn't robbed, but a flap was missing from her bag that was decorative. There's only one set of footprints going to the water's edge, which is a steep bank into the water, so it wouldn't be easy to get down there in heels. Like, foul play has to be involved. And she didn't drown.
Yeah.
Deadass, she did not drown. She couldn't have done.
No, I think drowning could be ruled out.
Very easily it could. Hey, cow, welcome
And I'm
in.
like, I'm looking at the map because I have a picture of the map. Let me see if I can share it on Discord.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like the distance from like the church to where she was found is like really, really far.
Yeah. Like, especially if it was, snowy in January.
So there's the map.
And she's in heels. It's a distance. Jesus.
55 minutes, 34 miles.
If it's 55 minutes in a car, how long did it take her to walk there in heels? Nah, she did not fucking walk there. I can tell you that. She was probably, unfortunately, already dead when her body was put there. I think.
Butler did it. Goodness.
That's mega.
The whole there was no water in her lungs is also extremely suspicious to me.
That's weird.
It was Colonel Mustard in a library with a candlestick.
It's always the candlestick. It's never the rope.
I don't know. Do they ever use the rope?
I don't think they do. It's usually the candlestick or the gun.
No, that's just wild. It's just
But
too many things ain't adding up, for that case.
But there's more little details that also just add just weirdness to this whole thing. Okay, so I talked about the heels.
Yeah.
Again, Coast Guard records show that they received a phone call requesting a search for Joanne at 9:30 p.m. that night, but the police didn't run the line check that kicked off the investigation until a half hour later. And what's more, there was no hole in the partially frozen water from the investigators suggested that Joanne entered into the lake. Joanne had no history of mental illness.
Yeah.
She wasn't depressed. She had a good life, so why would she want to kill herself?
Yeah, you don't just out of the blue think one day, I don't want to be here anymore. Like,
I'm gonna walk into a lake.
It prolongs itself. It bubbles.
I don't have any theories, I'm gonna be honest with you.
I mean, I'm thinking cover up, because there's also more details to this that kind of make this really suspicious. The other strange things in this case are the facts that Joanne filled her car up with gas on the way to church. Why would she do that if she planned on killing herself just a short while later? And that the prints on the snow didn't match those of the petite woman wearing heels. Witnesses' reports also clarifies that Joanne attended the prayer service and walked out there alive and well. But around the same time, a car alarm did go off according to the last person to leave church. The lot was empty when they left, indicating that Joanne's Lexus was moved back to the area after some time.
So, someone could have bunked her in her own fucking car, moved, dumped her, and then come back. No?
It's strange.
So the car had definitely been moved, though.
Yeah, seems like it. And then there's two more important details that kind of go with this case. The Joanne's purse, which she carried on her left arm, was torn as well, but due to the rips not being on the strap, the investigators didn't deem it necessary to fingerprint. So they didn't fingerprint the bag.
What a fucking joke.
All
is
this does
stupid.
indicate that Joanne was abducted by another party and then harmed, especially when you uncover that she was worried about her safety in the weeks preceding her death. So she was paranoid about something happening to her. Joanne's eldest child, Michelle, told investigators that her mother was becoming increasingly paranoid during the last few months.
So, she could have
There
had a
was there were
stalker.
signs.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're like, it's possible that they could have reported it, but it's like, maybe they were like, oh well, police being police, I guess.
Mm,
Yeah.
Oh well,
that's
maybe you
terrible.
shouldn't do that. That is awful. I think that's
Yeah.
a case of like, hey, that never, like this could have been prevented if like
Yeah, if they
the
took
police
her
didn't
fucking
stalk.
seriously.
Exactly,
Right.
and that's a big problem with like a lot of women who have a stalker or anything like that.
Yeah. I've had to deal with that, so I know firsthand that it's not
Oh yeah,
good. It's not a good system.
yeah,
I'm so
and I'm
sorry.
sorry you've had to deal with that. It's terrible. I have another friend that's like that who had to deal with that too. It's terrible.
I had an ex-friend that had to deal with that.
It's so ugly and disgusting, honestly.
I just wish they would take us more seriously, you know?
Yeah.
It could have
And I
prevented a lot of us from being harmed.
A lot of us from
I
turning up dead, yeah.
I'm not one to normally get political. Well, actually, no, I am very political. It's like, of course, I don't think you. I don't want to bring it up on stream, of course, because you know politics or whatever. But it's just
Right.
it's so stupid.
Like that case where they decided police don't have to help you
Why
if
are
they
they
don't want to.
useless?
It's. Mm, the justice system fucking sucks, let's be real.
I
But it's
just
also the
don't
thing of
understand.
like, why do you become a police officer and say, "Oh, I want to help people," but never do?
Serve and protect, darn it!
Serve and protect my ass,
I just wish they would believe us, you know?
Yeah.
right?
Like,
That's the thing.
if you took.
I'm a believe all victims. I'm a believe all victims person because the thing is, it's like I would rather believe a liar. I would
Yeah.
rather defend a liar than a rapist. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. But I have one more little detail about this whole thing, and then
Wait,
after
there's
that,
more.
the case kind of just goes cold.
Give it to me.
Joanne's Joanne's daughter also noted that Joanne was looking over her shoulder, believing that she was being followed and that her phone had been tapped. She also stated that Joanne was so worried about someone entering their home without their knowledge that she even changed the locks on their front door.
Mm.
As
Do you
if
think
that
maybe
isn't enough to indicate that something was wrong.
Do you think maybe it could have been family member? Like an ex or something? Like an ex-husband maybe?
Or if it was a cover up by the police, then it's a police officer that was stalking her.
Yeah.
Someone
That seems like a
in the
lot of
justice
effort.
system.
Someone that has some power over her.
Yeah, or just power over just this general structure. I mean, 3 autopsies and no one could find anything? That's
Exactly.
That's fucked.
I think it was the Supreme Court. Maybe. Could be.
I wouldn't put it past if it was the Supreme
I wouldn't put
Court.
it past them either.
yeah.
I mean, look. That's real sad.
It is.
The one last thing, Joanne's phone records show that weeks before she disappeared, she called a security company to look into the possibility of hiring an investigator, but because of lack of actual evidence, the reality of her passing remains a baffling mystery.
That's a shame.
It's definitely a cover. There was definitely 100% a cover up.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
But
yeah.
oh yeah, like it's just they ever even looked to see the phone if it was being tapped. Dude, it's a cover up. I don't think they would have checked. I don't think they bothered. I don't think they would have bothered to see if it was tapped if it was a covered up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
know what I mean?
that's. What are we thinking?
I feel like it could be like an ex-husband, ex-lover, something like that. That could do it because usually, a lot of women who get killed, they're by somebody that they know.
Right.
Yeah, someone she could have
Or
had a history with for sure. That has.
or it could really be a stalker, like you know,
Yeah.
some average Joe who she met once.
Yeah.
I don't know. My money's kind of on possibly like the
Another-
police force,
Mm-hmm.
maybe. Because there was still that detail from earlier that how is it that the police officers know that Joanne was gone before her own
kids.
children?
Yeah.
Like
Right.
they were already like down in that church, copters, cops. Everyone was down there except her own children. That's what I don't understand. Like why?
And we're supposed to trust these people, these police officers. I don't.
Protect.
Sorry, I don't trust any police officers.
They make me nervous.
Yeah,
Even if
understandable.
they're like family, I don't trust them one bit.
I would like to trust them, but they make me so nervous.
Yeah, track records. Hmm.
Ever look at the phone to see if it was being tapped? I don't know. I would have to look that up, but from my notes, it doesn't seem like they did.
I also feel like it wouldn't, like, why would they bother if it was a cover-up?
Hmm.
I don't know. It really sucks.
I don't
It
know.
does.
But then again, like, they could be, like, placing this evidence in a way to make the case even more confusing, because how come her purse was there, no money was stolen, but the charm on
Right.
her bag was gone, and she had a bruise on her arm? So they
Right.
might be also putting this to make it seem more confusing for investigators. I don't
It
know.
was definitely like, so if we're going that route, it was definitely like not a robbery.
No, it
Yeah.
It was
definitely
not like
wasn't.
mugging or anything like
It wasn't a robbery gone wrong. It was very intentional. They didn't want to take her belongings. They clearly wanted to take her, and they unfortunately succeeded.
that. That breaks my heart, honestly.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
does.
There's so many women out there who just like are in those situations.
They just don't believe us.
No.
I don't. And I get it. Like, man, this goes back to the whole thing. Like, I guess, like, the whole thing of not being believed. It happens. I was in that situation like months ago, and I'm sure every one of us have been in that situation too.
Right?
It goes into the 90% thing. Like, at like
Yeah.
every like 90%, 99% of women are a victim of some kind of like hate crime or like sexual assault or anything like that, like
Or harassment, yeah.
harassment.
Right.
Yeah. And yeah, it's really sad because like like imagine if like Joanne was like a kid, like would the police, if Joanne was a kid, like would you think that like maybe this case would have been handled differently?
Yeah, maybe it would have been taken a bit more seriously. Quote unquote.
State uproar.
Yeah.
That would have been state uproar, but also she was a person of color too, like
She looks,
possibly.
to me, Italian American.
She looks Italian American, but she also looks like she's Hispanic.
Yeah.
But you never know. But again, like we suspect that she's a person of color. That you never know. That maybe it's possible that like they would have just been like, oh well, that stinks. But if it was like a white woman,
Yeah, if it's a small white child, there would have been
Exactly.
a
National
lot
uproar.
more
Yeah.
buzz.
Yeah. It's this one.
that's
This one was
confusing.
difficult to.
Yeah.
All of those all at once. All right. Well, do we want to move on to the next case,
Yeah.
or
Go for it.
anything else to like say on this one?
Do you want to
I
talk
mean-
about your face transplant one? Yes.
Oh yes.
Is that the
It's-
chimp
speaking of
one?
face- It is the chimp one.
Oh.
All right.
Travis.
So I'll be speaking about Travis the chimp. So those of you who do not know, this is actually fairly recent. It was like 2003,
Oh.
a year before the Granby incident.
Cow. You right though. You fucking right.
Oh wait, no, it was 2000. It was 2009.
What did Cal say?
So
No.
it's 2 shades darker than what we hope. Oh, sorry, that reminds me of a Family Guy bit.
Is that the one where he has like the little piece of paper, the colors.
The card. All right.
Goodness gracious.
So, mm, mm, mm. Travis the Chimp. Like a lot of these have outlawed the owning of exotic animals like monkeys and primates. In actually, what is the law in Colorado? Colorado primate law.
Hey, Billy, thank you so much for the raid. Sorry, I don't have alerts on this scene today. I didn't think it'd be right.
Colorado again?
It's not in Colorado. I'm just looking up, like, is it illegal to... Is
Oh.
it illegal to own...
Thank you, Billy. I hope your stream went well. Welcome in, Raiders. We are talking true crime. You know how it be.
Trigger warning, besties.
Yeah, trigger warning, heavy themes of death and violence are put on the screen. But I hope you're streaming well, Billy.
Yes.
Nurse has the floor.
Yeah.
Yes. So, monkeys in Colorado. So, the law of exotic animals in Colorado. Monkeys, primates, exotic pigs, frogs, and certain types of cows and wildebeest. Those are illegal to own in Colorado. So, this would have never happened here. But it's like, this is like the reason why, like, this like caused a bunch of laws and everything.
Yeah.
To do it, and it inspired runs all the Colorado crime. That's true. For once, it's not in Colorado, but this is in Connecticut.
Same
for once,
same
it was.
difference.
For once, it was not in Connecticut. It is not in Colorado or Milwaukee. So, Travis's case also like inspired like the movie, like scenes in the movie Nope, the Jordan Peele movie that came out that me and Tiny were absolutely freaking out about over.
Yeah.
We still are.
We still are. It's a really good movie. Go see it. I won't spoil that one either. So, Travis the Chimp was a male chimpanzee, and he was also an animal actor that like appeared in different television shows, like for Coca-Cola and like the Maury Povich show, and like apparently a thing called the Man Show. I don't know what the Man Show is though, but I put that on my notes anyway. So, in 2009, Travis attacked and mauled his owner's friend in Stamford, Connecticut. So people think it's the owner. It was actually the owner's friend.
Mm-hmm.
So she was blinded, and a lot of like, he cut off like multiple parts of her body, absolutely destroyed her face, and everything. And big trigger warning for this because unfortunately Travis does not make it.
Yeah.
Travis was shot and killed by a police officer on the site, and the incident became like a huge like international story. Like, I remember when this happened too. Like, I think I was like in kindergarten when this happened. I don't know. Travis was he was born in like Missouri, and they had moved to Connecticut. So when he was a baby, he was like he was taken from his mother at a very, very like young age. Like before like you can take a monkey.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, you know how like there's a thing where like you can wean a dog off of a mom.
Yeah.
But like he was taken early from his mom.
Yeah.
When he was 3 days old exactly.
God,
and
that's
he was
way too
sold
early.
for a grand exactly. And he was sold for a grand total of $50,000.
Fuck me, that's low.
I know.
That's like a small house or like an apartment right there.
Yeah, that's like an apartment. So they actually named the chimpanzee after Sandra's favorite singer, Travis Tritt. I don't know who that is.
Travis Scott? No, I'm joking.
Travis Scott.
Travis Scott.
Oh my god. So,
Who the hell is Travis Tritt?
I don't know
Is that
who
what his
is.
name is?
Travis Tritt. Tritt. Apparently he's a country music singer.
Well, that explains it all. No.
I would rampage too.
I
Um,
This man
so
looks
basically,
airbrushed, but I digress. Continue, nurse. Forgive
basically,
me.
the owners, their names are Jerome and Sandra Harold. The Harolds, they raised Travis at their home in Stanford, Connecticut. Um, and he was like their consistent companion. He would like he was always with them and everything like that. He was very socialized. Um, and so they also owned a tow truck company as well. Um, and Travis would like pose for photos at the shop. He would like ride in the tow truck. And he was like dressed up like a human. He was very much like their child. Um, and he had also been known to like be buddy buddy with like police officers. He would like pull up and be like, "Yo, what up, police officer?" He was very friendly, supposedly.
Hmm.
Um, and because he was like grown like since birth, he was like around people. People thought like, "Oh, this shouldn't be like a problem." And a neighbor who like said he used to like play around with Travis and like wrestle him. And the neighbor added that like the animal Travis knew when to stop.
Hmm.
But he said like apparently he had better behavior than like most children. He and like Travis, like to get an idea of like how smart chimpanzees are smart and they're like super strong. I don't know why people are more scared of like chimpanzees or monkeys. But basically he was able to like open doors like using keys. He knew how to dress himself. He knew how to like water plants. He knew how to feed other animals. And he ate like at the dinner table with everybody else. And he even knew how to like drink wine from like a stemmed glass too.
Wow.
His favorite food was ice cream. He knew how to log onto the computer and look at pictures.
Are you serious?
I'm serious, yeah.
I didn't know that.
That's fucking
He
wild.
also, I know, like he's like smart dude. He was also like his favorite food was also ice cream, and he knew like he eventually like processed of like when like the ice cream truck would come by.
Oh my gosh.
He also like knew how to brush his teeth with like a water pick, like those like water flosser things.
Yeah.
Um, he also reportedly loved watching baseball, and had also driven a car on occasions.
Wow.
Wow.
I know, he was
Also-
smart. He was a smart little chimp. Chimps are smart, dude.
They
scare
are,
me.
but also that's kind of dangerous within a society. They should be with other
Right? Like
chimps.
a chimp. Yeah.
That's the
Like
point.
a zoo is a different story. A zoo is a different story because it's like there's multiple of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Monkeys scare me.
Also,
Um,
Cleon's comment made
what
me
does he
laugh.
say?
They do be
Mixers
stonky.
of apes.
I
They're
mean,
ripped. They're
I
mini
think
tanks.
chimps, I think, have the strength of 2 grown men, so that's
They
terrifying.
do.
Yeah.
They're scary. I just want to bring up. We've never seen like a jacked gorilla. Like, what if we like gave a gorilla like a gym, taught him how to work out and bodybuild? How strong would that gorilla be?
We'd be fucked.
We'd be not like that.
Give them ideas.
Yeah, we'd create a monster.
I know. Right? Okay, I'm not gonna like create King Kong Part 2 again.
Hmm.
So, unfortunately, Jerome, the husband, he passed away from cancer in 2004,
Hmm.
and their like only kid had died in a car accident in 2000.
Huh.
So Sandra and Travis were like the only ones there, and eventually Sandra, she like started to care for him like almost as a surrogate, like
Yeah.
kind of like a pseudo son kind of thing.
Uh-huh.
She slept and bathed with him, and after his death, like she said that like he was very hollow. She had nothing.
Hmm.
Yeah, he slept with her every night. He like would take baths with her and stuff. He was with her all the time. So before the attack in 2009, there was actually a previous incident in 2003.
Of course.
So this should have been the first red flag, honestly.
I mean, just bringing the actual chimp should have been all the red flags
Yeah,
in the
I know.
world.
Just chimps. Alright, so 2003. In October 2003, Travis escaped from the Herald's car and held up traffic at a busy intersection. He was on the loose for several hours. The incident began after a pedestrian threw an empty soda bottle at the car that went through a partially open window and struck Travis just like right in the head. So someone like threw a bottle and it bonked him on the head when they were at a stoplight.
Goodness.
And of course, Travis was like, he was like really scared and everything, as one is. So he
Hey,
unbuckled his seatbelt, opened the car door, and chased down the dude. But he didn't
Wow.
catch him.
that's terrifying.
Yeah. He didn't catch him, but when police arrived, they like lured him in. They like tried to lure him into the car like several times, only to have him like let him out of another door. So basically, like it was like a Scooby Doo like
Hmm.
door gag. It's almost funny to think of this like these like police officers like trying to like wrangle this monkey. Um, but this incident led to Connecticut passing a law um, prohibiting people from keeping primates weighing more than 50 pounds as pets and requiring owners of exotic pets to apply for a permit.
Mm-hmm.
The new law took effect in 2009. Um, yeah, I don't know. Travis was he was a 200-pound chimpanzee, 91
That's
kilograms for you, Jess. So he was bulked up, dude. But
That's
um,
that's like a person.
exactly, that's like a person.
that is
But
1 stone smaller than me. Fuck.
he's massive, dude. Um, so basically, this chimp. So this is what also like gets me to. The new law took effect in 2009,
Yeah.
and Travis died that same year. But of course, after the Travis incident, nobody like applied to adopt a chimpanzee. But before he died, they did not enforce the law on the heralds,
Ah,
and they did not believe that he posed a public safety risk.
fuck's sake.
It's because they knew him,
Mm-hmm.
of course.
So every
So
other
now
chimp's
this
a problem except for my buddy, the monkey tozer.
God,
Cleon.
I
that's
almost
awful.
spat out my water.
Okay.
Pimp dozer.
Cleon, please draw that. Please.
No, don't drop the chimp dozer.
Please.
He's a wild animal. They should have just
Yeah,
given them the rules the same as everyone else. Again, there aren't any other chimps, but still, they need to follow the rules just like everyone else.
they
It's
should have
like
never
the
fucking had him.
it's
Yeah,
like
that's.
well
God.
that too. It's like the whole thing of you take the animal out of the wild, but you can't take the wild out of the animal thing.
Yeah.
It's like Joe Exotic, you know?
That's another thing we should definitely
Oh my
discuss
god, we
in the
should totally
future.
talk about Tiger King.
Oh,
Okay,
I
okay.
feel like that would be a whole like episode or stream.
yeah.
That's a lot of can of beans we gotta open up for that one.
Honestly.
Do you guys think Carol Baskin killed her husband? Personally, yes. Anyway.
I agree.
Yeah.
I don't know, she gives me that weird vibe. Anyway.
Goodness.
So we're getting into the attack. On February 16th, 2009. Okay, I'm not doing that. At around 3:40 p.m., Travis attacked Sandra Harold's 55-year-old friend, Charla Nash, inflicting
No.
devastating injuries to her face and limbs. Travis had left the house with Sandra Harold's car keys, and Nash came to help get the chimp back in the house. Upon seeing Nash holding a Tickle Me Elmo, one of his favorite toys, Travis flew into a rage and attacked her. Now, for some background information on that, Nash, she had a different haircut than what she normally, like, she had been best friends with, like, Travis. She was, like, one of his best friends. But she had a different haircut, and, like, dyed her hair, I think. So he didn't recognize her at a first glance.
Mm.
And she was holding his, like, Elmo toy. So he assumed that, like, okay, this person, I don't know them, they're trying to take my toy away.
Right.
So he got defensive. So he attacked her and everything. But upon the autopsy of Travis, okay, we're getting a little graphic. The autopsy, and they had to decapitate him to look, because the autopsy of animals is very different to
people.
So for animals, sometimes they have to decapitate the animal or dismember it to get a better look at things. So for Travis, they had to take his head off and look at his brain and everything too. So the attack was linked to another cause. Like, they think maybe this had to do something too. They found traces of Xanax on his teeth and, like, in his bloodstream.
Shit.
And Travis, he, like, knew who, like, Charla was, and she like worked at the towing company and everything. And yeah, he was just confused. But also he had been taking, like, medication for Lyme disease as well. And the Harold, Sandra, she was like 70 years old when this happened. She tried to stop him by, like, hitting him head on a shovel and, like, stabbing him with, like, a butcher knife and everything like that.
Jesus.
So she was, like, trying to get him off and everything.
Yeah.
And you can hear, like, the 911 calls too. They're, like, on YouTube. We're not gonna play those.
No.
But, like, if you are very, like, inclined to listen to that, it's on YouTube. You can find it anywhere.
Wow.
But again, trigger warning, because you could hear a lot of the scary details.
Yeah, you can hear the chimp, like, going apeshit.
Yeah, you can hear him screaming, and just the voice of the woman is very distressing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
If you're gonna
watch
watch
that
it,
at your own viewing.
I will not be held responsible for your trauma. So then, after that, so, like, Sandra, she later said, for me to do something like that, put a knife to him, was like putting one in myself, because she viewed him as a son, you know? So, and, like, when she reportedly, like, when she stabbed him, he had turned around on her and was like, he was confused, and he got angrier, because it's like betrayal, you know?
Right.
And at this point, she thought that Charla was dead, and she called 911. And you can, again, like, you can hear, like, the screams and stuff like that. And they thought, so here's another part of police being police. Travis's scream can be heard in the background at the start of the call, as Sandra pleaded for the police, who initially believed the call to be a prank call.
Fuck's sake.
Until she started screaming, "He's eating her."
Oh,
Emergency
Lord.
services waited for the police before approaching the house. When it arrived, Travis headed towards the police car. He tried to open a locked passenger door and smashed the side view mirror, and he went around to the driver's side door and opened it. At which point, this officer, named Frank Chiafari, shot him 4 times with a service pistol. Travis retreated to the house, where he was found dead next to his cage.
I couldn't imagine a fucking car chase, O.J. Simpson style, but with a fucking chimpanzee.
Mm-hmm.
Just imagine if it got to that level. How fucking crazy would it have been?
Wild.
Fuck.
Yeah, like, so after that, there was, okay, so then emergencies, like, came in and, like, started treating Charla Nash, and they were horrendous, obviously.
Yep.
But here's where it gets a little bit more crazy. Following 72 hours, Nash underwent more than 7 hours of surgery on her face and hands by 4 teams of surgeons. The hospital provided counseling to its staff members, who initially treated her because of the extraordinary nature of, like, Nash's wounds. So her, like, injuries were so bad that people needed, like, therapy for it. Paramedics also noticed that she lost her hands, nose, eyes, lips, and mid-face bone structure. And she received brain tissue injuries as well. But doctors managed to reattach her jaw, but announced on April 7th, 2009, that Nash would be blind for life. Her injuries made her initial treatment at Stanford Hospital. Nash was transferred to a Cleveland clinic. So she was like one of the first people to receive a face transplant in the modern day with modern medicine.
Oh, wow.
Which is pretty impressive, not gonna lie. Her family also like started a trust fund and like money and like a big like fundraiser to like pay for her medical bills because they were like crazy.
I know.
And then eventually, oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I know it probably sounds heartless of me, but it's amazing what the surgeons did. But I wonder if, at any point, they thought, should we just give up? Also, sorry,
Right.
Paul, I read your original message incredibly wrong. I blame being thick.
Heck yeah, Paul.
But yay, you're
Oh, yeah,
off
Paul.
work.
You read it backwards.
I added the word to for some reason. I thought he was leaving us.
No, Paul, come back.
Yay, thanks for staying.
And
Nurse, what are you
I'm
doing?
fixing something real quick because I noticed that like I like clicked on stream for a minute and like I noticed that like there's a weird thing. There's like a weird like background, like it looks like it's not real. There we go. All right, my bad. My little character. It looks like it was not like part of the screen. Anyway, I fixed that. All right, so they like managed to treat her and everything, which is pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
And on the Oprah Winfrey show, of course it was Oprah, on...
Of course.
What you do, hand out
It's always
chimpanzees. You get a
Right.
chimp, and you get a chimp.
And you get a jump.
Take it back.
I don't want it.
But she revealed like her damaged face like before the attack. And then pictures have surfaced like showing like what she looked like after, like before and after. Okay. So with standard procedure, Travis's head was taken to the state laboratory for a rabies test, and the body was taken to University of Connecticut for a necropsy. A necropsy is basically like, it's basically an autopsy, but it's performed by like other people, like students and everything like that.
Yeah.
An autopsy is like you're a professional. The head tested negative for rabies, so he had no rabies.
Okay.
But he had like a lot of Xanax in his system.
That's strange.
And Xanax, for those who don't know, is used to treat like ADHD. It's basically meth. It's like one chemical away from being considered meth.
Oh, wow.
Imagine giving
It's
that a
really-
chimp to be like, yeah, this will like, chill him out, subside him.
Toxicology reports confirmed that Sandra's statement that she had given to Travis Xanax-laced tea the day of the attack, which could have exacerbated his aggression. Xanax is a short-acting, potent anti-anxiety drug that can cause disinhibition and disorientational things, and it can cause like hallucinations and like aggression, rage, and like mania.
Just read Paul's message.
Paul said, "Gotta love microdosing meth." Travis off the booth yet again. Shut up. But yeah, it didn't state like how much like Xanax she gave him either. Like, it was a lot. I think it was a lot. I don't know. It was Chimp. But yeah, PETA also like had an involvement in here too. They like harassed Sandra Harold too. It was wild.
I bet.
And then after the attack, she died of an aneurysm at the age of 72.
God.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Well,
And people
That's
like to say, people like to say that and think she died of a broken heart and everything.
Oh,
that's sad.
poor thing.
Yeah. So that's the case.
That's the chimp.
Crazy. That's
That is the
Travis.
chip. Of course, like that whole attack, it inspired like scenes in the movie Nope.
Yeah.
But it's also like why like it's like the main reason why like a lot of states like outlawed the owning of primates
Yeah.
in like in like your house and everything, and why you can't use like primates for actors anymore.
I think that's a good thing for all of us.
Honestly, yeah. Yeah. So, do we got anything to say about this? Do we have anything to share with the class?
I mean, Cleon actually brought up something interesting in the
Yeah.
comments. Like, I'd never thought about that perspective. Cleon, you bring up a good point.
Yeah, how the
How does
hell
it-
did Travis feel?
How did you see it? Exactly. Because like Xanax is
Not made for chimps.
it's not made for chimps.
It's barely made for us.
Yeah.
I know.
I don't know. I don't think people should be having wild animals in their possession.
No,
Right,
I
like,
agree.
It's so dangerous and it's just so unethical for the animals themselves. It's like, leave them alone. Just leave them alone. You know?
what am I thinking of? Like primates,
All of Tiger King's establishments.
yeah, big cats or like wild cats in general.
No,
I can't think of any
there's some
other.
people that keep bears.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
bears, absolutely not. I would not trust a bear.
Bears. I know there's some families that have elephants.
Ew, elephants, yeah. Anything that like should belong in a jungle.
Keep
They're
it there.
just their natural habitat.
A lot of movies with main characters being chimps when I was younger. Yeah, there was like a whole like thing with animal actors.
It was.
Yeah,
It's
like in the
different.
90s.
It's different from like a dog or a cat.
Yeah, but even still, it's like, I don't know what it was about the 90s that they were like obsessed with just, we gotta have an animal in this movie, like freaking Airbud.
Honestly.
What's that one movie with the golden retriever? Besides
Airbud?
Airbud, there was another one. Milo and
Yeller?
Otis that had the pug.
Oh yeah. Old Yeller.
It's Old Yeller too. It's just a bunch of these movies that had a bunch of animals in them. Now I'm thinking, cut that out.
Hey, stop that.
I remember a movie with a hockey chimp and a chimp living in a hotel. That does not ring a bell to me.
I'm sorry. Hockey Chimp? Firebox. Hockey Chimp movie. Most valuable primate. It's under the Airbud like umbrella.
Of course it is.
I just remember Space Chimps, but that was animated.
Yeah, so there's two movies. So there's one where he's playing hockey, another one where he's skateboarding.
Of course.
Yeah, what was with the 90s and the early 2000s with like monkeys?
God knows.
I don't know, just like a lovable animal sidekick was big.
You know, sharks. I'm also like against the whole thing of like owning a shark too.
Yeah.
Trying to think of more movies that had like weird scenes with animals in them. The only thing that comes to mind is Lucio Fulci. Like, he had a shark scene and a zombie actually fought the shark. And it was very bizarre and it was very off the wall.
I remember Tiny. There was those Vegas guys that had a tiger.
Siegfried and Roy?
Yeah. The, um, like the tiger attacked them,
Yeah,
right?
I think so.
Like, did their big cats actually?
See. I'm pretty sure they did get hurt.
Yeah, they didn't die, but they like got hurt.
Let's find out. This is another case. Hmm. God, this is a big article. Let's see. Roy gave him a command to lie down, and Manticore refused, gripping the trainer's right wrist with his paw. Oh, goodness.
Mm. The Hangover? What?
Yeah, so he definitely got attacked. Hangover.
Yeah.
What, do they have like a
Like
woman hangover?
Like the movie The Hangover,
Or is Cleon hungover?
oh, he's still Mike Tyson is still in his head.
God damn it, Cleon.
Damn it, dude. All right, man. I mean, I think we got room for like one more case, unless you guys are all done for today.
I'm happy to call it here if you pair off.
Yeah, I don't have any more notes. I had 3 cases.
That's all I had.
Yeah, same here.
I had, I got 2 more, but they're pretty well known, so you probably know about them.
I would like to know them. What are they?
The first one I had was the Slenderman Stabbing.
Oh my god, I was going to talk about that one.
See, I've matched one with Tiny, I've matched one with Nurse.
Yep.
And
we
then...
really gotta discuss notes.
And then, we've not done too bad though, we're good.
Yeah.
What was the other one?
The other one I've got is Tina Watson. You've all probably seen the scuba diving photo of the body on the ocean floor.
I actually don't know that one.
Tina Watson.
I'll give you a short rundown. Tina Watson was a 26-year-old American woman who died while scuba diving in Queensland, Australia on the 22nd of October 2003. Tina had been on her honeymoon with her new husband, Gabe, who was initially charged by Queensland authorities for his wife's murder. They were only married for 11 days at the time of her death. Gabe Watson pleaded guilty to manslaughter and served 18 months in prison, and he was acquitted of state charges of capital murder in Alabama in 2012, where they were originally from. Let me get my other notes up, hang on, because I took a screenshot. So basically, the photo is him posing for the camera whilst his wife is laid dead on the bottom of the ocean floor because she died of asphyxiation and drowning because her scuba diving equipment had been tampered with, it seemed.
Ooh.
Yeah, she was 100 feet underwater, unconscious or likely dead in the photo. Her husband Gabe was a diver, and he convinced her to get certified, despite her being very nervous and uncomfortable underwater. During an open ocean dive that was far too advanced for her limited experience, Tina experienced an equipment malfunction and drowned. Her husband Gabe is at best an arrogant, incompetent, lying piece of shit who exaggerated his abilities as a certified rescue diver and was unable to save his wife when she began exhibiting signs of distress. At worst, he's a cold-blooded murderer who deliberately shut off her air supply until she passed out and then allowed her to drown. This is just someone who said this on Reddit that I'm quoting.
That's disgusting. That's disgusting.
He gave
I've never heard
16
about
different accounts of the incident, which occurred shortly after he requested that Tina make him her sole life insurance beneficiary. On the advice of her father, Tina didn't change her policy but told Gabe that she had. He pleaded for manslaughter. He was sentenced to 4.5 years in prison, but was suspended after only 18 months. And it's he just seems very guilty, to be honest.
Wow, I have never heard about this case before. This one's new for me. Wow.
Yeah, it was is interesting.
Oh gosh, I just found the photo.
Yeah,
That's terrifying.
it's sad. Especially in the photo, she is on her back underwater. So obviously the scuba equipment is holding her down because of how fucking heavy it is on you. So it says Tina and Gabe went alone on the ocean that day. Other divers, part of the same group, were there and also had some dive cameras that took video footage of the couple. The same divers told authorities that Gabe was behaving strangely whilst rescuers were trying to resuscitate his wife and was asking them for hugs. So he was like, go around saying, oh, can I have a hug? Because my wife's not breathing. Fucking weirdo.
On scuba diving is uber heavy. Oh my god, I don't think I could do scuba diving.
It's true.
Yeah.
They are heavy. I've been scuba diving in my local pool. There's like something with my youth club that I did as an experience thing, and they're fucking heavy.
I enjoy. I mean, not even enjoy. I went snorkeling once, and that was cool. But like, even with snorkeling, it's like nothing is like there's nothing holding you down or anything like that. Like, I would feel more comfortable snorkeling than scuba diving.
These are just some activities I don't think I'd ever want to do just because A, I can't swim,
Well, I can
and
swim.
B, claustrophobia.
I can swim, which is no problem. But I would never go like spelunking or anything like that.
Yeah, just these activities, I don't like the feeling of water on my face, so yeah. No ma'am.
Understandable. I've got an article up here about different things that happened after she died. And after Tina died, her husband Gabe and her parents got into a bit of a feud regarding her gravesite. This culminated in Gabe being caught on police video discreting the flowers left behind on her tombstone. The flowers had been chained to the ground near where her body lay, so Gabe used a bolt cutter to chop them into little pieces.
Yeah, I don't think I could fight a shark either.
If that's not fucking suspicious that he's destroying shit at her grave, you know, that man's 100% guilty in my eyes.
Was he ever convicted, or?
Yeah, he served 18 months for manslaughter, but he's
That's
out.
it?
Yeah, that's it. He's out now. He's remarried.
I wouldn't.
Yep.
No.
That's a walking red flag.
So, it also says here there were issues with Gabe's dive computer. So he had like a watch that would read stats and stuff whilst he was diving. But apparently he had issues with that. Shortly after their 7-day dive expedition began, witnesses remember that Gabe resurfaced to fix his dive computer shortly after going into the water. It tracks depth, times, and oxygen levels, among other things. Apparently the battery on his device was backwards, causing it to beep. He had to borrow a coin from a fellow diver on the surface in order to open the battery door to fix the problem. The dive computer wound up being a bone of contention between Gabe and Australian police. They confiscated his in order to examine its data and refused to give it back to him because it became evidence in the case. He was rather unhappy to hear that he wouldn't get his device back.
Paul makes a good point right there. How the hell does someone look at a person convicted for murder and go, I'll marry him?
Yeah, literally.
I can fix him.
Exactly. Like, how are you not in fear of having your life being taken away?
I would.
Just also
Yeah,
the
like,
fact
that's
that when he
terrifying.
got back to his state in Alabama that he was cleared of all charges.
Of course it's Alabama.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Ugh.
His case
Poor
was
boy.
just dismissed because of double jeopardy. If you don't know what that means, it means you can't be tried twice for the exact same crime.
Oh, okay. Well, I was literally about to ask you. Answered my question.
Yeah. So, because
yeah.
he'd already been tried once for her murder, no matter if it's in Australia, he couldn't be for that same murder back home.
It seems all extremely intentional and planned. Like, he knew that he wouldn't be charged, so he
Mhm.
did this in a place in a different area, a different state, a different country.
It's
So-
also the fact that he forced her into diving in, like, stuff that, like, she wasn't an experienced diver. This was her first fucking dive, her
Like,
first and only dive, and she,
Are you serious?
yeah, he forced her to sign up for diving lessons, and then made her go on a dive she was not experienced for. That's why she died, not only because her equipment was tampered with.
Tiny is flabbergasted. I am.
Honestly,
Because the more I
Paul.
learn, the more I'm mad.
We're all flabbergasted. What are you talking about?
It's the fact that they were, like, married for 11 days.
That's. How long were they together?
Let me see if I can find that. So they met whilst they were studying at university and began dating in 2001.
Okay.
So 2 years.
That's not a lot.
Long enough for me, honestly. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, so she began diving lessons apparently in January of that year, and then went on the honeymoon, and she'd not done a proper dive before, like out in the ocean. So that was her first official dive, and she was inexperienced for it. Yet he forced her into getting those lessons.
I don't like that.
Yeah, she had never dived into ocean or below 9 meters. She was 20 meters on the floor, dead.
God.
That's
Ugh.
terrifying.
Yeah.
No.
This is why I don't like the ocean.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, even if I'm with friends, I wouldn't go diving or anything like that.
Nope. Ocean's a scary place.
Ocean's a scary place. It should be. We don't know that much about it, and I think it should stay that way.
The ocean stays in her lane and I'll stay in mine. Don't perceive me.
So yeah, that's the one we're gonna finish on? Question mark?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good one. I had not heard of that one.
Man, that makes me like scared, terrified.
It's just, the world's a bit fucking nuts, you know?
Don't marry a guy that you've known for 2 years.
Yeah. It's terrifying to know that we have better maps of Mars. Dead ass Paul. Yeah, 80%.
Oh my gosh, I didn't know that, Paul.
There could be a Dollar General down there.
Same wavelength.
There's a Dippin' Dots in there somewhere. I know it.
There's gotta be a hot topic in there.
There's a load of emo fish down there, and we've just not met them.
When I was a young fish.
Taco Bell underwater.
Oh my god, underwater Taco Bell sounds like what the coins experience in that coin drop thing.
How do we know that Aquaman isn't really down there? Maybe he is. We just don't know.
Yeah, but then the Amber Heard chick is probably down there. I don't know.
Huh. Well, thanks ever so much for joining me, folks. This was a lot of fun. This was good.
Yeah, I very much enjoyed this. I'm happy to join for another episode.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll have to plan for
Another
another
song.
episode of maybe a different spooky topic.
Cryptids, cults.
I do want to do cryptids.
Yes, we absolutely
That would
should.
be fun.
That's where they sell McRibs year-round.
Or just spooky stuff in general, like internet cryptids would also be fun, like creepypastas and
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, I think we should do
Stuff
like a
like
scary
that.
story. I think we should do a scary story read off.
Ooh.
Ooh, like that would be fun.
Yeah, we could
I also would like to hear y'all's paranormal experiences.
I
I'm
have a
very
couple.
curious. Yeah, so do I.
I have one.
SCP would also be dope. Oh yeah, this SCP would be fun.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
I have one paranormal
How many-
experience, and it's really mundane because nothing around here is haunted. But I can talk about videos I've watched that give me goosebumps.
It's very
Yeah, why
haunted, like my area, so I got a couple.
Yeah, my family has seen some shit and heard some shit.
Ooh, how exciting!
Very exciting. I very much enjoyed this.
Yeah, thank you for having us, Jess.
Thank you for
You guys
joining
should
me.
write your own scary stories and scare them. Oh my god, if I wrote a scary story, it'd be like my scary story would be like the Bean restaurant one. Do you guys know the Bean restaurant story?
No, please do.
It's like a 2-second one.
Do you want to save it for when we do scary stories, or do you want to share it now?
No, it's a stupid one. I'll share it now.
Please.
So, a son and his a father and his son are watching a TV, and it's a scary story. The story is a lady farts and she kills the entire like population of the town, and then the son looks at the dad and goes, "Dad, that's not true, is it?" And he goes, "Of course not, son. Women don't fart." And then the mother bursts in through the door. "I am back from the Bean restaurant." That's it.
Good lord.
I like that.
I am back from the Bean restaurant.
But when
got
can we
nothing.
find you pair streaming next?
Well, maybe tonight, honestly.
Ooh.
What you streaming?
I don't know. I'll figure it out. Maybe Faith again.
Hey.
Maybe Faith. Maybe. I don't know. I'm gonna be honest with you. It's really hard to think about it because there's not a lot of games that like stream on my computer. Maybe we'll return to Sonic. I'm not sure yet.
Good old
Sonic.
Sonic. What about you, Tiny?
Monday.
Another
I'll
day.
be back Monday. And wait, I'm actually gonna be with you on Sunday.
Yeah, that's when I'll be next. Because tomorrow and Saturday I'm at work and I will be tired after my shift. So Sunday people can catch me and Tiny playing Stardew Valley. Year 2, baby.
I'm not a Stardew person, but like I'm not a Stardew person, but when I watch you guys play, it like hits different.
Thank you.
We also mod the shit out of it too.
Yeah, it's a great
Make it
experience.
interesting.
Well, thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. I hope you all have a good rest of your days, whatever you're doing, wherever you're doing it. And
Yes. Thank you.
Take care.
Bye.
we'll see you
knows,
when
maybe
we
we'll have-
see you.
Hydrate.
Are you gonna raid out, Jess?
No, not today. I just want to go straight to bed, funnily enough.
It's Mimi's time.
It is. Goodbye.
Alright. Bye bye.